Good evening, everybody. Welcome to America's Third Party. I am David Sponheim, and this is America's Third Party.com. You can actually watch our show every single night. Also, if you miss it, you can catch it. We play it in recorded broadcast off of YouTube. So feel free to catch us any time of the day. Watch our show. Everything we do here is authentic, real, interactive, virtual, and we respond to links. We bring them into the show. We give you guys a very lively and interactive show. So happy 4th of July, everybody. Except Sunday. We don't do a show on Sunday. We take a day off there. Happy 4th of July. We're all kind of feeling good because the stock market seems to be doing well, but we're unhappy because we have Trump, who seems to be bumbling along, unable to even walk straight, not even sure where he's going. This live leak came in today, showing an elderly man wandering away from his limousine, but remains in control of the nuclear weapons. Let's take a look at what happened today. Earth to Donald. Okay. If you've ever seen a person wandering away from the, thank you. If you ever see a person wandering away from the Alzheimer's clinic, that's kind of what it looks like. And I'm not making fun of people who don't obviously know what they're doing, but he's the president of the United States of America. He doesn't see an open door waiting for him right outside the step that he lands on. I mean, what's going on here? What kind of chronic brain syndrome? What kind of mental random misfirings are going on in this guy's head? The seal of the vehicle with the open doors and his men standing there waiting for him at the door wasn't enough. It's not a fake. He's amazingly stupid. Scissor fight, you're right. That was a real video. We just brought it in. All right, let's not rake on the president, okay? I mean, we gotta go with what we got. Obviously, we're not happy with it, but until he's impeached, we've got to work with what we've got. Okay, thank you. No, that would be the worst case scenario. North Korea missile launch marks a direct challenge to the Trump administration. Yeah, I would say so, considering he didn't shoot it out of the sky, and they said that he had the ability to shoot missiles out of the sky. So I'm not sure why Lockheed is making us believe that they've got the ability to take out missiles when they don't even shoot them out of the sky. I can honestly tell you, had North Korea shot a missile out and I were president with an anti-ballistic missile force that we supposedly have, there wouldn't be a missile leaving into the international airspace. There wouldn't be any kind of a threat to Japan or South Korea. Seriously. But what we have here is a sad example of a pathetic nation that pretends to be tough. I seriously am beginning to doubt our anti-ballistic capabilities. Call me old-fashioned, but I'm a kind of a show-me guy. And if they can't show me that he can intercept a missile coming out of some country like North Korea, your contact in Japan is predicting a global shift. Could be. Especially if I become president. There's going to be a change in the order of things. I'm not going to be pushing America's will on other countries. We're going to be focusing on our country. We're going to be, getting our hands dirty and getting these jobs that everybody's been talking about, but nobody's building. We've got a president who sits there and watches the news of himself on TV every day. That's what they say he does. And then he tweets about himself. This is his daily life. Tweeting and watching the news about himself, not leading the country, not starting operations that will lead to jobs. This guy just wanted to be president because he wanted everything. He wanted it all. Very, very self-centered, narcissistic person in the presidency who is incompetent. That's the nicest way I can put it, without going deeper into it. His connections with the Russians, all very obvious now. And his connection with Jeff Zucker, the CEO of CNN, has become obvious now too. Is Jeff Zucker the Ashkenazi, who is also friends with all of Trump's administration, who are Ashkenazis? These people all worship money. They pulled a perfectly good story about how Russia had been in touch with Trump way before the election to get rid of sanctions. These are facts, okay? The 3 reporters resigned. They weren't let go like the news is telling you. They resigned because their journalistic integrity was threatened. And the news would like to say, oh no, they were fired because the story was wrong. No, the story was accurate. It should have kept on the news. CNN is warping the news and is now the real fake news. Oh, God, you people have no energy. That's why our country's laboring in nothingness. Apathy has taken over the entire mindset of the American people. If I didn't drink a little coffee, I wouldn't even have the spark that I have during the show. You'd think that I was like, okay, what's going on, The show wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be engaging. I'd be sitting here like a turnip. There'd be nothing going on. When in reality, I've got all kinds of things happening. Yeah, we got music coming. We got interactive links. We got a video that just came in that could be pulled off the internet. It's called Silenced.
We must not confuse dissent with disloyalty. We must remember always that accusation is not proof, and that conviction depends upon...
Excellent. I'm going to grab that right now, and we'll make it part of our show. All about censorship in America today. So it's serious when our country is censoring its own people. I am a living example of how our nation has been censored. For 8 years, I've had no press coverage, the mainstream media, except mocking me, calling me a bizarre fringe candidate in a Rolling Stone libelous statement in an article they made about me. That was it. That I'm some sort of a bizarre fringe candidate, they said. That's the only media coverage I've had in 8 years in a mainstream area. No, idiocracy is not the future. We're going to stop these bastards from sticking fluoride in our water, dumping lithium in our atmosphere, turning our world into a disastrous toxic waste dump. We're going to do it by building this third party and stopping the corruption at the very heart of Washington, D.C. I'd like to get some live video of some fireworks, so let's see if I can get fireworks. I'm eccentric and frugal, but not bizarre or fringe. So true. Thanks, 913, for understanding. The Dallas skyline is lit up tonight. Let's take a look at there. We're getting in news from fireworks coming out in the U.S.
And tonight, the sky over downtown Dallas lit up for the red, white, and boom on the bridge.
Tonight's fireworks capped off a celebration that started about 4 hours ago. But of course, this is what everyone came out to see, including NBC5's Kevin Coakley, live tonight along the west bank of the Trinity River near the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge. Kevin, how was it?
Yeah, it was pretty good. You know, take a look. I mean, the city's all lit up for 4th of July, Bank of America building. You know, this may have been the best seat in the House. Thousands of people lined the banks of the Trinity to ring in the 4th. The west side of the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge was closed to traffic so people could watch the fireworks from there, along with the Ron Kirk pedestrian bridge right next to it. The city of Dallas teamed up with K-Love Radio for the second year to sponsor the event. And the Texas company that produced the fireworks show for the red, white, and boom on the bridge made sure it lived up to the name.
Our show actually has over 2,300 shells. It's a 15-minute show, and we have 4 trailers full of product. So our shells tonight go between 200 to 300 feet, all the way up to about 700 feet in the air. So they will be going higher than even the arch on the bridge. And it's just going to be a very beautiful show. It's very full. It has multiple finales.
Okay. So this is what it's come to. Here we go. Thank you. This is what it's come to. We've got fireworks to watch tonight in the abundance of fireworks coming tonight. Thanks, Scissor Fight. Here we go. Live streaming New York City Macy's 4th of July fireworks right behind us, everybody. Welcome. I am featuring the fireworks as a big part of our show. Sarah and I are very proud to have a show on 4th of July because it's very important that you understand we're patriotic people. And we certainly support our country against all odds. When our country chooses a horrible president, we're all about trying to fix the problem. Because no one realizes the Russians actually rigged the electoral count, we're still in a situation where you actually think that Trump won fair and square. He didn't win fair and square. He lost the popular vote. And believe me, I'm not a Hillary fan. But he lost the popular vote, and most likely the electoral college vote was rigged. That's where we're at. We do know that Russia contaminated the election in many ways. Even Trump had to admit that in his favor, that Russians helped him in his favor. He has admitted that, but he hasn't admitted to working with the Russians to get rid of sanctions way ahead of the election. He has admitted to saying that he fired James Comey because he wanted the Russian investigation to stop, which is in and of itself, obstruction of justice. Believe me, the problem is very serious, and when Russian contamination is this severe at the executive branch, it can contaminate our abilities to defend ourselves against the Russians. If Russia and the U.S. began a ground war right now in Syria, I cannot say for sure that Trump wouldn't be helping the enemy. There is no nose it here. I think I need a brighter light over here. That's what I need. I don't have a nose it. I have a nose that has a shadow right here. There's a shadow right here. See? There's no nose it there. You got a real problem, buddy. Yeah. Yeah, you just can't accept the fact that I'm beautiful. If you don't have a little off in your face, you don't have character. Everything's perfect. It's not character. You need character. I don't know whose knows. The nose knows. Well, I just think it's kind of pathetic that you think I have a zit on my nose when I don't. Shadows are really a problem here. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Russian story is played out. MSM has moved on. Wrong. Nope. The story's just beginning. You're going to be muted every time you come in here with that crap.
Education is one of the most important areas that Muslims have to address. And while our final objective, is not just to become part of the system that we experience now and that we see, our final objective is to create our own Islamic systems, and not only create Islamic systems for Muslims, but to look at all the other people who are sharing this country with us.
Okay, this is from 1989, a propaganda campaign run to push American Muslims into America. This is all the way back in 1989. They had plans to push for Muslims to take over our country. And now Trump is allowing that. He's allowed 24 encampments to form, all of which have armaments and munitions, all of which are ready to go into what could be an Islamic radicalized state of jihad. This is one extremist from 1989 proposing more Muslim control of America. Yeah. So a lot of you people that voted for Trump would expect him to get rid of those 24 encampments, don't you think? How come none of you Trump supporters want to stop the 24 encampments? The one outside of Binghamton, New York is one in particular that needs to be dealt with. You're sitting back and allowing Trump to waste months now when he could have gotten rid of these encampments. How come he doesn't want to get rid of the encampments, you wonder? Because his workers, his cabinet members, make money on terrorism. Where do you think the people like Betsy DeVos's brother, Eric Prince, who runs what is now the current version of Blackwater, it's called Academy, where do you think he's going to get money unless they have terrorism and brewing in America? How are they going to fund the military-industrial complex unless they have terrorist encampments in the country? So of course Trump doesn't want to get rid of jihadist terrorists in the country. He wants to allow them to proliferate and make our country more dangerous so that people like Eric Prince can make more money creating a greater police state. The truth is, they're using all of these false flags and fear of terror to create the police state, and they're at the same time funding the Gulen schools indirectly, and hopefully they're planning on giving them charter school money to raise Muslims in madrasas to become Islamic radicalized terrorists. How do you like that? So in order to look at the 4th of July, you have to ask yourself, are we really being a nation that's dedicated to democracy and peace, or are we being played? And I argue we're being played. Even the concept of democracy is manipulated. We're no more democratic than Pakistan. Or, in fact, they're probably more democratic. We only have 2 parties in a country that claims to be free and democratic. You either vote for the left or the right. I have not gained weight. I'm fantastic. I have fantastic physical presence. How do you like the fact that your country is sticking it to you every day in the news? Mainstream media is manipulated. So much so that from a website called Insurge Intelligence, they just discovered that the media is so deeply controlled by the government that we've had censors at almost every level of every movie ever made. Documents expose how Hollywood promotes war on behalf of the Pentagon, CIA, and NSA. U.S. military intelligence agencies have influenced over 1,800 movies and TV shows. Isn't that amazing? Let me give you the link. The CIA packs itself into the newscasts. They sit there and they control what the movies are all about. They have to reread the scripts, making sure everything's appropriate. We're living in a controlled society no different than North Korea. In fact, we have more prisoners. This is true. We have more prisoners per capita than North Korea. North Korea has 1 person per 100 in their Camp 22 and prison system. We have 2.3 per 100. 2.3 people in our prison system in America, which means we're doubly as punitive, a greater police state than North Korea. And here we're saying, oh no, we're so free and democratic, we can drive down the street and be pulled over for going 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. If you're driving 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, you could get pulled over, drug tested like Tiger Woods was. Even though he was parked on the side of the road, he was drug tested for a DUI, driving under the influence. And in the state of Florida, you can get a DUI while you're parked. Marquitos, hola, buenos noches. You got a good movie? I can't listen to The Peace Train by Cat Stevens. If I did, I would be, I'll play that a little bit later. Thanks. Hawksaw Ridge. If I did, I would be monetized. Even though Cat Stevens doesn't monetize things on the internet, if I played Cat Stevens right now, who goes by the name of Islam, I believe, in Pakistan, somebody would claim that that's their property and then they would try to monetize it, and I'd get a request sent to me by YouTube saying, no big deal, it's just that you're playing a video that's copyrighted. So somebody must own, probably Sony owns the rights to Cat Stevens. Peace Train. U.S. and South Korean forces fire missiles into the East Sea and show force against North Korea. Well, that's kind of a joke. What I don't understand is how Lockheed Martin could deliver an exact takedown of a missile in a test flight that stopped other missiles, yet they can't even use it and deploy it against North Korea's recent missile launch. I mean, who's kidding who here? Okay? Either America can take down one of the missiles coming out of North Korea, or Donald Trump doesn't have squat to defend against North Korea. Now, I don't want to provoke North Korea, but frankly, I mean, if we don't start showing some level of force and careful technological aspects of our abilities, we're not going to get this guy to back down. He's going to continue launching missiles into the sky. And if we don't step in and show our abilities, then we don't have those abilities, which gives him license to continue doing it, doesn't it? Breaking, U.S. and South Korean forces fire missiles into the East Sea in show of force against North Korea. That's like taking a piss into the wind, and it blows back on you. Oh, I just took a piss in the wind, and all of a sudden I felt warm water coming at me. Ooh. I mean, talk about a waste of time. Plus, we aren't even negotiating with him. We haven't even opened a level of dialogue with Kim Jong-un. I would have at least made a phone call. Look at this. We got nothing going on in Trump's cabinet except all these yes men sitting around going, yes, Mr. Trump, we like you, Mr. Trump, you're wonderful, Mr. Trump. And then, meanwhile, nothing gets done, and guess what Trump does? Every day, they say he sits in front of the TV set and watches the news coverage of him, and he tweets about it. Shooting a missile out of the sky is the least I would do with North Korea. The first thing I would do is open a dialogue with them. You can't even get Donald Trump to talk to Kim Jong-un. And I'd even say, hi, I'm sorry I had to shoot the missile out of the sky, but remember we talked about this? The trajectory, if it gets near Japan, we're going to take it out. It's no offense to your missile program, but we need to test our missiles too. And honestly, Kim Jong-un, we've got this new anti-ballistic missile capability. Every time you test your missiles, we want to test our anti-ballistic missile. It's not. You can call me anytime if you want to check this out. I would send in Rodman. I'd send in anybody who wants to talk, other than somebody who comes back as a vegetable and then dies. Mr. Warmbier didn't deserve that. Young man was turned into a vegetable and then died. I'm very sorry to hear that. Some people believe that he may have been a spy for the Mossad. Yeah, we don't know. I'm sure Kim Jong-un thought that. Yep. I'm as old as the fjords and as young as a newborn lamb. Ready to go to help America. A lot of people are looking into the Seth Rich mysterious murder that happened. They're claiming it was a botched robbery at the police level, but everyone knows there was no botched robbery. He had all his money on him. He had his computer, his laptop, everything. Deborah Wasserman Schultz wants to get a hold of his laptop. She really wanted it. She went up to a D.C. court and turned around to the police and said, if you don't do it, there's going to be consequences. Why does Debbie Wasserman Schultz want to get a hold of that laptop? We don't know. But one man has a GOP lobbyist, lawyer Jack Berkman, calls on WikiLeaks to reveal what it knows about the murder of DNC staffer Rich, and he's put together a plan to pay out $105,000 to anybody who does that. Hello, bananas. Thank you. So people are trying to get the ball rolling on the investigation, because if we don't find out what happened to Seth Rich, we'll never get to the bottom of WikiLeaks, the Russian connection, Podesta and his involvement in human trafficking, if indeed he is involved in human trafficking. Anything related to Hillary, we'll never get to anything unless we open up the story and investigate what happened with Seth Rich. Why was he killed at the hospital a day after they patched him up and fixed all of his bullet wounds? And the police were telling the hospital to stay away from the room. Why is that? And then he dies. Who killed Seth Rich in the hospital? That's what I want to know. 2 layers have died in Wasserman's district dealing trafficking. Interesting. Well, all I can tell you, if there is a connection, we need to find out what it is. So that's at the background of a lot of the stories that we're looking at. I mean, here she is at Seth Rich's funeral. The woman with the curly hair is Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
May have been an attempt to rob him, but that isn't clear. It's just a terrible situation.
What is really strange is she's there, and James Alefantis went there. Now, James Alefantis had nothing to do with the DNC. He's good friends with, people in the DNC, but he had no need to be there. So why was James Alefantis at Seth Rich's funeral? So a lot of these questions are really kind of, begging a deeper investigation. So that's at the background of this discussion about truth. Unless we get to the Seth Rich investigation, we're never going to get to the truth. Moving on. This story came in a couple days ago. Big pharma companies exposed for bribing family doctors to prescribe drugs 50 times stronger than heroin. There's this drug that's out right now, and it's called fentanyl, and it's extremely dangerous. And because it is so dangerous, even the smallest grain of it can kill you. A scathing investigation report from the NJ.com has revealed that some startling and damning facts about the exponential increase in fentanyl overdose and the rate at which family practitioners prescribed it. Apparently, the industry were just giving samples out to doctors. So you're saying Alefantis has a relationship with the Rothschilds? I would like to know what that is, because Alefantis doesn't seem to have a real name. James Alefantis in French. This is an interesting, odd twist. The translation of James Alefantis in French it's not coming up. It means lover of children. So I'm beginning to think that the name James Alefantis is a fake name. So if he has a connection to the Rothschilds, I'd love to know what it is. There's a picture of Alefantis inside a Rothschild house for a book signing party. Okay, good to know. Sarah's here. Happy 4th of July, Sarah. Come on in.
Happy 4th of July.
We've got live streaming from New York City in the background. Let's go ahead and play it.
Oh, yay.
Yay, whoopsie. Kind of a warm night. I'm going to redirect the fan so it comes kind of hooks in here. This is New York City Macy's 4th of July, everybody. Live stream. Okay, here we have the correct spelling from Carpet Muncher. Thank you. I'll put this in the background. Yeah, it just needs to be a little bit cooler, I think.
Yeah.
And, right.
Well, hame means to love. Ame mi amor. I love my...
Let me put that in the muncher here. Thanks, Carpet Muncher.
Or is it my name?
Well, we're going to find out right now.
Go to from French to English. Go to English.
Doesn't seem to.
French detective, so click French.
Yeah, it's not pulling it up for some weird reason. It was the other day, but it's not doing it now. That's kind of strange. Yeah, so now you can't get Jaime Alefantis to be French.
Somebody would have said, James Alefantis would have said, hackers mess with Google Translate.
You got to wonder who messed
David,
with Google Translate.
What's up, boy? Says, Ambition is here.
Hey, Ambition, what's up, man?
Hello, Ambition. Awesome.
This is
Are you watching your YouTube chat, by the way?
No, I'm not.
Can I bring it up? Do you mind?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
This is the original background we started with in 2008.
Yeah, something like this.
And this was our background. We've been doing the show for nearly 9 years, and I thought this would be an appropriate, background for
4th of July.
Yeah. We just played a live video of Donald Trump getting out of an airplane, Air Force One. not knowing where he was.
Hello, SWE Pro Junior.
They literally had a door waiting for him, and he walked right up to the door and turned left, or yeah, he turned right, not knowing. He turned right and immediately walked a little ways down. He had no idea where he was. So Donald Trump was noticeably disoriented when he got off the plane. So we're dealing with a guy who's got some issues, who needs to step down. But worse than that, we've got a guy named Mike Pence who potentially is got issues beyond worse than Trump's as the vice president.
What kind of party is this? Do you guys support Trump? This is, well, above David's head, America's third party. Obviously, David does not support Trump. He does not like Obama or Trump or Bush. He's like an anti-mainstream politics person.
I'm the unpolitician.
So the purpose of the scope is to bring more notice to David Sponheim, who's actually wants to be your president of the United States of America. And he has some pretty interesting ideas. You can check out americasthirdparty.com to see all of his ideas. Some of those, the thing is that we're centrists. What about pizza? Do you like pizza and science?
Pizza is a tough word to work with right now because, even though we all like the taste of pizza, we don't talk about pizza because of this new Pizzagate story, which is very serious.
Exactly.
I'm the unpolitician.
It's like the food is good. Anything that, anyway.
Okay.
But you do not consider Trump or Hillary as good candidates. Both are corrupted, money-sucking capitalists.
Yeah.
Jack says, well, Jack, welcome to the party.
Jack.
I think you have found the right show. You're here.
So this problem of Pizzagate is not going away, but it's not the center of our discussion tonight. So we're going to move on to other issues like the environment. The truth is our world is getting more toxic. The powerful industrial leaders like Monsanto and Dow seem to always control the president. And I can assure you that won't happen when I'm president. If we do meet with them and the oil companies, we'll meet in public. I'll have C-SPAN in my White House integrated as a daily show. We want to have a daily chat show out of the Oval Office with C-SPAN in attendance, and I want to have a 24/7 chat show so you guys can post various polls that you want people to vote on, and the ones that get the most votes get to the show, and we talk to people about what the American people want to do on certain key issues. This is the type of transparency we would expect from our president in this day and age. We are in the 21st century. We don't need people like Obama who said he was going to be transparent and wasn't. We certainly don't need somebody who's spending all their time tweeting, misusing the media to manipulate the press and make himself act like a dictator in our country, which is exactly what Trump is doing. And by the way, Trump is spending most of his time watching television of himself. That's what he does every day.
It's kind of sad that
it's pathetic
that any president would have time to watch TV when there is so much work that needs to be done in our country.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
We
for
definitely,
sure. Yeah.
One person asked about, well, I'm glad that you're fighting for the real justice. I actually wrote a poem about not being anonymous, kind of inspired by the anonymous group, but that especially being with David, is not anonymous because he is exposing his face and exposing the truth and wanting to expose what's happening to people.
We went into this thinking that this was something the American people should do, is to get involved in politics. Sarah ran for a local election under America's Third Party in 2008. I ran for a local election in 2014. And every time we did that, we exposed ourselves and put our name and our address in as public record storage, and it's permanent. So it's very risky to do this now in America because you can be attacked, doxxed, swatted. We were swatted 2 years ago, which never should have happened. Our country should never have protocols that allow for unnecessary swatting of good citizens. But you see what's happening. The average person in America can't get their word in edgewise. We've been censored so heavily that it's beyond belief. And if you don't recognize the censorship, it's because you've never tried. And I can assure you, I've tried so much and gotten nowhere in the mainstream media that it is extremely discouraging. But we've gotten tremendous world viewership through UHF rebroadcasting our signal. And I believe through that process, we're going to eventually get notoriety and enough coverage to break into the mainstream media. I think it'll happen. My local campaign, they literally stole 90% of my signs. We drive around in circles for 2 weeks, putting up signs, going to the printer, posting them signs, making signs, putting them up, having to see them only torn down the next day. So the Democrats, Republicans are willing to cheat to win elections. That's a fact in this country. So if you're saying, well, David, you should start locally and think globally, or, many people believe that, wrong. It's never going to happen that way. It's sad how the rich ones and how the top 1% have all the rights, where we have nothing. Good point. Many people who have been swatted, who have been through this horrible ordeal, and for us it didn't last a long time. It lasted 10 minutes. People didn't even know we were being swatted because it was seamless for me. I'm a very calm individual, so I literally walked outside, laid in the grass, got cuffed, got pulled up by my shoulders, asked a few questions. Sarah was pulled aside, asked a few questions. 15 men came into my home without a warrant with AR-15s, laser sightings, went through the home looking for an active shooter. And it was a complete hoax put together by some child on the internet. And when I heard the voice that called in, how could anyone confuse that voice with a 50-year-old man or a 57-year-old man, or in this case, a 55-year-old man? Because I'm 57 now. It's crazy. So whatever happens, if the cops come to your door, do not panic. Panic will destroy you. If I had panicked, I wouldn't even be here talking right now. They would have killed me. I would have been dead. I would have been like the 1,200 people every year who die because cops come to their door. And like if a person opens the door and goes, you can't come in here without a warrant, and you got your sidearm on your side, say, because in the state of Washington it's an open carry state. You can open your door with a sidearm. And if the cop says, take your hand away from the weapon, and you don't say anything, you just stand there and go, show me your warrant, you'll be dead in about 2 minutes. They'll kill you. So if you think you've got the right to bear arms in this country and stand up to anybody at the door and expect to get a warrant to see your house searched, don't panic. You don't. All right. I'll see you in a bit. Thanks.
Okay. So that is David. And he is, yes, I'm going to be talking now. So my name is Sarah, and I'm here really to support David. You will, as you watch the show more often, you'll realize that David and I don't always agree on everything. All right, if we look at the Democrats, they're just making people richer in California, richer and don't something. All right. No, never, Amy. We would never hurt anyone. And sad but true, the Duke says Washington State is becoming like a leftist paradise. I don't know if it's becoming that way or it always has been that way. It always kind of has been a blue state for sure. Yeah, that's where we live. What's my view on Sharia law? Both David and I do not want Sharia law in America. We believe, of course, in freedom of religion, and we believe that people can worship as they want, but when it comes to the law, we believe in the law of the land. I don't know the answer to why would David want to sue everyone. Well, I did have a conversation when they showed up. Fortunately, that was almost 2 years ago, and it hasn't happened since. Well, thank you for your opinion, 3696 over at Vaughn. The Republicans are doing the same thing like Texas and Oklahoma, all the other red states are super red. And it's like the Democrats and Republicans are pulling further and further away from the center. And I'm a centrist, and I believe most Americans are in the center of the political spectrum. And I believe that's where really most Americans are. We are not legally married, but we are a couple. We are together. I just don't believe that the government should be involved in people's personal relationships. Well, fortunately, Sharia law doesn't exist in our country, the Duke. So, well, that's your opinion, 816. Everyone is entitled to an opinion. So, Yeah, the center. I think that's where the real liberty is, and I think that's where common sense really is in the center of the political spectrum. I think that that's where I think they are. Clear Sky says Republican and Democrats seem like they're just the same, like two sides of the same coin. That's your opinion. Sometimes, especially when it comes to money, that's what it seems like. They're all about lobbyists and money and gaining money, and it's just kind of it's kind of sad. Which I think it should be about the future, and I think it should be about our country, and I think it should be about the American people and how do we best serve the American people. All right, Jack Morrington says he thinks that France did a great job by electing Macron as their president. He has a stable opinion. Just enjoy it now. Okay. Yeah, I will never leave David. I'm always dedicated to David. I'm a very loyal person, and I love being with David. We don't always agree, even politically. It's kind of interesting because, of course, we both are part of this America's third party venture. But sometimes David and I don't agree politically, but we definitely agree with our country, and we agree with the policies that we believe need to be implemented to help our country. The main areas where I would say that we disagree is I kind of disagree with the focus on what some people claim are conspiracy theories, because I tend to not want to dwell in the past. I tend to want to move toward the future and dwell on, well, what can we do for the future of our country, rather than dwelling on, hey, let's prove whether the moon landing was real or fake, or let's prove who shot John F. Kennedy, or let's prove this and let's prove that. And I feel like time is better spent on focusing on our country and the things that we can do for the future. Thank you. Do I remember your wedding? You don't remember your wedding? Okay. Yes. All right. Clear Sky says, it would be interesting if we ever have an independent libertarian or Green Party in office, or America's third party. That's what we are, is America's third party. So, americasthirdparty.com, you can find out more. But I agree, it would be very interesting. I think we would have well, how do I say this? I think we would have more people agreeing in the future. Well, you might have a point, 899. It could be a good change too, exactly. Thank you very much. You're doing a new signal coming in on VHF, broadcasted from UHF. Hi, Cherry. It's America's birthday. We're enjoying it here. We're on the West Coast, so ciao. We're on the West Coast here, so here obviously we're watching fireworks from the East Coast, but we're gonna go down and watch our local fireworks at the end of our show, which is in about 3 hours or so, something like that. David, I don't know if shortwave listens in. I think people rebroadcast on shortwave and UHF and VHF. We've been broadcasting for a very long time, and we usually broadcast at vonlive.tv/third party. So if you see me responding to people and you're like, I don't see those people in chat or at Periscope or something, I'm watching the one on Periscope, and I'm watching also the one on Von Live and others. I think you're right. I think New York City, man, that is an amazing fireworks show for sure. Macy's, New York Macy's 4th of July fireworks. They just keep going and going. Oh, you guys don't need to be mean to people. I'm going to go ahead and purge. You usually marry every 2 years. Why would you get married every 2 years? Regards, yes. Oh, I totally missed it. I think maybe my chat needs to be a bit bigger. New York #1, somebody had typed something, but I missed it on Periscope because it disappeared too fast. Hello. Isoka likes. Alright, hello. You're from Philly, it's great, but as great as New York City's, very good. Not as great as New York City's, nice. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know if I like, the thing is, I'm not a big city person. New York City's fine, but it's kind of interesting when you're on like a bridge in New York City or up on a skyscraper in New York City. I actually have never been on a skyscraper in New York City, so I can't really say that, except from like video. But it's like you look out and you see buildings forever, whereas when you're here, you can look out and see the ocean forever, or you can look out and see plains, grasslands. I prefer, my favorite is of course the ocean. It's just so, there's something about it. It's soothing to the soul. It's very comforting, and so I love living near the water, which is very good. I guess New York has the water and the city if you like both. Well, Jack, I think that David would totally agree with you, Jack. You and David would get along perfectly. He definitely doesn't like Trump at all, including your statement 585. All right, so Washington Examiner, sanctuary cities promised to make 1 million new U.S. citizens in a year. Okay. Thank you, 305. Nice to meet you, too. Happy 4th of July. Yes, hello, Pita. Thank you. You have insurance for when you get married? Well, that would make sense if you get married every 2 years. Oh, in Atlantic City, New Jersey, they have lots of fireworks over the Atlantic. Yeah, and New York as well, yes. The waters, yeah, I guess in New York and Atlantic City, you have the best. You have the city and the water. I'm not a city person. Just one more question, Columbo. All right. That's not nice of you to call me names. Would the travel ban cost taxpayers money? Well, from what I understand and of the travel ban is that it could cost taxpayer money insofar as when the people try to enter from other places that they're not allowed to, then someone has to pay for their flight, their return flight to their original the place that they flew in from. So they have to return their trip, and someone has to pay for the fuel and pay for the flight. So that could end up costing taxpayers money. What is happening here? So we're watching the fireworks in New York right now, New York City's Macy's 4th of July fireworks, and we are talking about politics. Oh, you don't speak English, but you can type English? That's pretty good. For someone who doesn't speak English, you're doing pretty well. And I'm also responding to people who are typing in Periscope and people who are typing at vonlive.tv/third party and anyone watching on our YouTube chat. Well, I'm not really responding to them because there was only one person there. Yeah. Oh, hello from Turkey. Hi. Hello. All right. And it looks like Tokyo. No, it's New York. Yes, I am from America. I'm actually on the West Coast, but we're watching the fireworks on the East Coast. It's so pretty. Oh, you watched the fireworks in 2011 in the Hudson River? There were a lot more then. Hello, Finland. Fantastic. I should just show a fireworks show and get all the cool people to watch. Oh, should I lower this? I should lower this. David would like that. There we go. And we can get it like that. You live in Sardinia? Actually, no, we're not in California. We're in Washington State. So, Pacific Northwest. Okay, you can ask me a question. I can always say no. I'm forgiven for being East Coast, for showing East Coast. For what? I don't quite know the answer to that. We're northwest of Seattle. But close enough. Close enough. Hello. Oh, I'm forgiven for being on the West Coast. Well, thank you very much, because I like the West Coast. I know California gets really hot, but I was actually kind of grew up in California, Southern California area, kind of inland a little bit. So anyway, I don't mind California. Okay, one thing you hear about America, Russia, Israel, terrorists. Those are the kind of words that come up for you. Well, we hear about America having a lot of tension with Russia. America is usually allies with Israel. We accept Israel as a country. The current government spends a lot of money and sends a lot of money to Israel. We would, at America's third party, we're kind of what's the right word for us? Can't use that word. We're not in the mainstream. We're like a separate group, and we believe that we shouldn't be spending money overseas, especially to Israel and all these other countries, that we send all this money overseas when we think we should spend the money here in America. Because one thing you can for Muslim people, problem, why? So there are a lot of Americans who feel that the Muslim people are a problem, and the reason that they think that is because, well, I would say two things. One is because they've kind of been led to believe that with what happens on September 11th, 2001. I'm alt-center. Okay, I've never heard of that word before, but okay, MLC, if you want it, you can call me whatever you want. I believe I'm a centrist. So, but whatever you want to see. Jack would love to see a peace agreement between Israel and Palestine, and I would too. And I agree with Clear Sky that the USA should worry about its own problems and not be the policeman to the world. I agree. Memo Can, why? Because you think we only Muslim? I don't understand your question. Think is alt left and alt right were already taken. Ciao. Ciao, Nanya. The thing is that I would say this as far as Muslim goes, is that we don't want to have Sharia law in our country. You think Muslim, Catholic, Christian, everything's no problem. That's the same here. We, in America, we have freedom of religion. We have where people can believe anything that they want. There tends to be a lot of fear in America. I agree. Everyone should be good-hearted. Yes, love. It should all be about love, right? But I think that a lot of people have a lot of fear in our country, and especially fear of the unknown. And I agree with Jack. It is a bit of a misconception that all Americans hate Muslims, and I don't think that's true. I think that we are very accepting of everyone. I think there is a lot of fear with the idea that what happened with the World Trade Center that you're looking at now, New York City, when the World Trade Center was attacked. Ghost says the problem is with Muslims is that they won't assimilate. And that's, I think that it's not, I don't know if it is a problem, but I agree that when people come into our country, we have more of a salad bowl, they say, rather than a melting pot. And I think that insofar as people tend to cling to their cultures. So you have people who are Thai that gather together and have like a strong Thai culture. In America, you have people that are from the Philippines gather together and you have a strong Filipino culture. You have people who even come from Mexico and they cling together, and you have a strong Mexican culture within America. And I think that's the same thing with the Muslim culture too. I think that there has been a lot of fear about people who come from the Muslim culture because of this association with terrorist attacks and 9/11, September 11th, 2001 specifically, creating that fear like we're under attack. And then promulgating that into wars with the Middle East and continue like creating enemies. Yes, but America does have Muslim friends and allies. Oh, 612, people can talk about me all they want. I mean, it doesn't change who I am. You are a Muslim, but you talk for the people. You're trying to... So, I would have a question for you. Do you think that there is a push for spreading Sharia law? What is your opinion of Sharia law versus the law of the land of a country like America or another country? I sometimes research things 334 and sometimes I don't. I agree. I'm not saying that Muslims are... I don't think that they're terrorists. No. I think there's an association with that. But we all are together in our country. I have not read the Quran. No. I have read the first 5 books of the Bible. Well, thank you, 612. And I'm sure what you say is true. 546 says when you're coming to a country, you should adapt to that country. The thing about America is that we did not, or not we, when the Europeans came into this country, they didn't necessarily adapt to the country. Not everyone is living as the natives did in our country. Thank you, 206. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, and Numbers. I kind of got tired when it came to Numbers because Numbers is like, it's like reading genealogy. So-and-so begat so-and-so begat so-and-so begat so-and-so begat so-and-so. So I kind of got tired at Numbers. Right. I believe, I will say this, let's change the discussion to women and women's rights and women's, how do you feel about women and that they should have the right to vote and the right to participate in society in any way that they see fit. I believe that women can do anything that men can do. Sometimes they choose not to, but I believe that they can do anything. So, but you know, there's certain things like I personally don't like doing. I still do some of them, like building and things like that. So I think men and women should live of their own free will, and that is one thing that I think we believe here in America as well. Not just women, but anyone, any person is capable of great things. All human beings have amazing potential locked within inside them. You're a Muslim and you think women should have the rights to drive and work in Saudi Arabia and other countries, all countries. Sarah, you don't see women carrying 2 bundles of conduit on the job site.
No.
2 bundles. I've seen women carrying conduit on the job site. Maybe you just don't know the women that I know.
I met a woman who, in college, the first female firefighter.
Yeah, and I bet she was buff.
She was. She was actually an Olympian, a shot put, female Olympian. It's amazing.
Yeah,
She was buff.
I really think that. And sometimes the woman might not be able to carry 2, what did it say? 2 bundles of conduit at once.
Right.
But she'll carry the 1 bundle. She'll do it twice to get the job done. She can still get the job done.
Women are super strong. They carry children. I mean, do men carry children? No, they don't. Do men gestate? No, they don't. There hasn't been one. Well, there's a woman who claims to be a guy who is giving birth. I don't even want to talk about it. It's a transgender story. It's irrelevant. But women are strong.
Must have a uterus somehow.
It's a woman who has a tendency to be a man. She grows a beard and all this, and she claims she's not even a man or a woman, yet she had a baby.
Okay.
And now she's claiming her baby's a tranny. It's a really messed up situation.
Well,
yeah, women are amazing.
I think they're human beings. Human beings are human beings.
Yeah, so let's not underestimate the strength of anyone, male or female. Let's not gender stereotype, shall we?
I just think that we all have amazing potential inside of us, and
totally.
we all can achieve incredible feats.
Live streaming from the background.
We put our mind to it.
This is amazing how long the New York City Macy's 4th of July goes on.
I can't believe it's still live.
It's like, what is it, an hour of fireworks?
I think I'd be tired at this point.
Is this a repeat or what? Yeah.
I don't know. It says live streaming.
Well, chat is open. David, let me say it's nice to meet you. Thanks for meeting me here.
Yes, This is David.
I'm David Sponheim.
David Sponheim. 2020.
And we do this show because you deserve it, and everyone needs to have a place politically to talk and share ideas. I was telling Sarah this past week that AOL kind of dropped when the stocks dropped and long time ago, and nothing ever replaced it. And back in the early era of the internet, the early days, Sarah and I met each other like 19 years ago on the internet, and it was an amazing use of the internet. It was rare to have that type of a meeting which goes well. So nowadays you have to be much more careful, and we don't have the venue that we have to chat, politically chat and share ideas. So we're hoping that this is a good place for people to hang out and chat well into the future.
All right,
So.
that chat, well, that's just the chat, but if you take out pop out and chat, then that's the other place that we cast. I know, the internet was so fun back in the days.
I know. You know,
that's where David and I met.
Let me tell you a typical night.
Back in the days.
A typical night where I was chatting. I would go on AOL, and I'd have like 3 or 4 accounts, different names, usernames.
I only have one.
Well, I had 3 or 4, just to open my opportunities with different names, because at that time names were important. Names are still important, but at that time we had avatars, and like when the network that Sarah and I met, VIP Excite, which no longer exists, had avatars where everyone had their own avatar, so you had your own identity. So you wouldn't just be a guest so-and-so or salty dog or ghost. You'd have your own identity. It takes up a small character. So this is something we'd like to achieve someday in the future, where we can bring that type of chat back. But I would go into a room for Baltimore, or a room for New York, or a room for LA, and there'd be a constant chat going on about things going on in the world and in that specific city. So we're kind of wondering when this is going to happen again, because everybody wants to meet people in their area. So we're hoping something like that takes hold, where the internet can be a place to hang out. Because right now it's kind of a lonely place, unless you come here. Lonely place. Yeah, we had state chat rooms. Remember, Yahoo had them too. And now I understand people are doing Craigslist. You were telling me about Craigslist.
Yeah. Craigslist has like a random section. From what I heard, that was like 5 years ago, though.
And Dave, no joke, I met my girlfriend in this chat room. No joke.
CNN doxed a Reddit user today? No, seriously?
No kidding. Wow.
Wait. Oh, you met your girlfriend in this chat room?
In this chat room.
That's so cool.
See?
That is very cool.
How long does an average love session last? Probably 30 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on how much love you want to invest in. It depends on how exciting you are with your partner. I mean, a lot of people are really asking big questions like...
Do you mind if I ask a question on this topic?
What? Yeah.
Okay, so like my question, like thinking back to someone else, is like, an initial like meeting, do you like the person if you last longer or shorter? Like really long or super short? What's that like?
Yeah, like if it's initial... like a one night stand, is it going to be a relationship? Best thing I remember was 4chan back in the days, Jack says. That's not exactly great, Jack. I don't think hacking government websites is a good thing.
Exists.
I would say a one-night stand generally doesn't lead anywhere. I would say one-night stands are almost always a disaster.
I don't think that was... That's more of my question, Zellfire. Does really long mean that it was really good?
Oh, you're asking a bigger
really
question.
Short
okay.
Mean that it was really good?
Yeah. Like we're watching a show right now.
From a man's perspective, I guess I know the answer from a woman's perspective, but I don't know the answer from a man's
I think from a man's perspective, it's an open situation. Like if you're giving a back rub and you're getting a back rub and that lasts a half an hour and it goes on where, foreplay extends another half hour. It's okay as long as it's going somewhere. But if it gets into a heated argument over something, it can't, So you really got to capture that moment. I don't argue with Sarah, but I mean, if you have that moment where you're both interested in what you're doing and it keeps getting better, then of course it can last longer. But it really depends on the chemistry between two people, I think. It really does. Without that chemistry, it's not going to work. You can't really find... We're watching a movie called Gypsy, in which a psychoanalyst or a psychiatrist, actually, a therapist, is having her own personal problems with life, and it's kind of based on the song Gypsy by by Stevie Nicks of Fleetwood Mac.
Well, I would say that's the theme song. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's based on that.
I don't know, but the concept is kind of like the Unmarried Woman. Liz Claiborne played in the Unmarried Woman. It was kind of a woman trying to find what she's looking for in a man or a woman. And this woman's on this lesbian fantasy life when she's married. And she continues to get deeper into this lust that she has. And it keeps her lust keeps intensifying and drawing her into more crazy and disturbing situations apart from her marriage.
Yeah,
And that's
so
kind of a
twisted.
slippery slope when you go down that abyss of seeking really weird sexual pleasure. You could easily go into a disastrous
twisted.
situation. You could easily head into a disastrous situation. So the more you meet, the more risky it is. The more you run into people, the more people you meet, the more short-term relationships you have, the more likely you're going to get an STD or get AIDS.
It's a show on Netflix, a new Netflix original called Gypsy.
Yeah, it's called Gypsy.
It's a series. There's only 10 of them out right now.
But I think it really depends on the person. You want to cook? Well, it's not Thursday. So that's 2 days from now. Boy, they're going crazy with the firecrackers. Those are firecrackers. They're just lighting them. We've got people in our area that love fireworks.
Yet. It's like still white outside.
People love it. Yeah, people love it here. This whole area is so full of fireworks that I often have to...
It's like this. It's like what's going on the screen, yeah.
You know what I'm going to do tonight? I'm going to water down my yard.
Oh, that's a good idea. You're
just in case.
Do that now,
yeah, I'm going to actually, while Sarah stays here, because I think she likes talking to you guys, I'm going to go water the yard some more because I don't want a fire happening. A firework, can start a fire in the middle of a dry yard.
Yeah, we do have a pretty dry yard right now.
Let me go do some watering. I'll be back.
I like Stevie Nicks. She has a great voice. It's pretty cool that the Gypsy show has a pretty cool opening, because it's Stevie Nicks and that song, and it's just really good. Man, you can smell the smoke from the firecrackers. Thanks, Jack. Thank you. Yeah, and Jack, make sure I guess you don't bookmark the Periscope, but do check out our site, americasthirdparty.com, and learn more. And yeah, I'm sure you'll get along great with David. It's so fun. He casts every night, by the way, Monday through Saturday. We take Sunday off, but he usually starts at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Pacific time. So I don't know what what time zone you're in. All right. No sprinkling system. No sprinklers. Well, we live in the Pacific Northwest. There's not a whole lot of people that have sprinklers in the Pacific Northwest. It's just not necessary because we have so much rain that people would think, why in the world would you have a sprinkler when it's like every few days it's going to rain? So we don't do that. All right. He wants, remotes to data mine. Like to go out. I guess I should get a VPN before I do any other remotes. Okay, whatever that means. Restarted. Why the fire concern? Oh, well, because in July and August, it's true. Even though, well, between like October and even up to like mid-May and sometimes even into June, it will rain here. And then from like late June to August, it doesn't rain that much and it dries out. VPNs are overrated in your opinion? Oh, they're overfishing the Bering Sea and crab prices have gone way up. That's, wow. Why? You think when you get a VPN you're taking illegality to another level? The reason, I'll tell you why I want a VPN, and then you can talk about it's not like just having Kazaa or Napster. Well, I'll tell you why I want a VPN. Because right now, if I go on certain sites like Skype or other sites, certain people, hackers if you want to say, or just people that know their code, can access my IP address. Correct? And by accessing my IP address, they can access where I'm broadcasting from. Correct? When I'm broadcasting from my current location, I really don't mind that people know where I'm located at, because other people have figured out where I'm located at and have posted that information. But when I'm broadcasting from, like, if I'm visiting a friend's house, I'd rather people not know that I'm visiting I don't want people to know my friend's address. Well, Sarah's explaining it because she's like a teacher, because she is a teacher. So back off. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, I don't want people targeting my friend, especially like a guest came into my room just shortly and said, "Oh, I'm going to attack your house with a firecracker. I'm going to attack the place you're broadcasting from with a firecracker." Personally, if you do that to me where I am at right now, okay, well, I can defend myself. I know where everything is, where I can defend myself. But if you do that at my friend's house, I can't necessarily defend my friend as easily as I can defend my current location. So that's why I would like to get a VPN. Oh, you say they can't track you down to your personal address, but let's say, and this has happened, that I am broadcasting from a restaurant that has Wi-Fi. Well, they can figure out which restaurant I'm broadcasting from. They can find the phone number for the location where I'm broadcasting from, and they can then call the restaurant I'm broadcasting from and harass the people working at the restaurant I'm broadcasting from. Why use a free Wi-Fi? Well, when I'm traveling, I'm going to be using I will be using Wi-Fi. That's why I said if I travel, I want a VPN. Duh. Because I'm not necessarily going to my end location. Even VPNs are tied to the machine number 670. Actually, good teachers teach that you can change the laws. It's up to you to think, and up to you to speak up, and up to you to determine your own destiny and the destiny of your country. Exactly, Ghost, which is why I want a VPN. Alright, sorry. I'll work on holding this ass. It feels amazing. How is your life? How do you feel in your life? Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Do you like what you do? Obviously, you love watching the show. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Are there any reports of harassment like that anybody knows of? Seems that you would have heard a story like that by now. Ragnar's, obviously you missed the statement of David saying that we were swatted 2 years ago. Yeah, you have no idea the loving I've had. So much enjoyment, so much harassment. It's so fun. Oh, you like doing that? Yeah. Why? Oh, you're saying if I'm on a VPN, if you can get a connection to the device, then you can execute arbitrary code and send it my GPS. So what is the best thing to do then, Ghost? How do I protect my GPS?
I was saying last night that someday there may be holograms that will be looking up in the sky and see things taking place with holograms. Laser light shows that fuse into a three-dimensional. It may be like more spectacular, if you can imagine that.
Maybe. The thing about current laser light shows is that they usually have a reflective surface.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Huh. Okay. Well, I guess we have to blow things up in order to get that effect. It's essential that we have fireworks. I mean, let's face it. Fireworks are a part of America now. That's what America stands for.
You think it looks like my head is being blown by the fireworks. Maybe I'll go off to the side. That's good. Well, I do think that there's a certain number of people that may be watching on UHF and VHF. There are people who claim that they're rebroadcasting David on those, I don't want to call them networks, on those systems.
That should be our new motto. That's what America stands for. Fireworks.
How do I paste what I've saved as a screen print?
I don't know. I wish I could find Paintbox on there. I think it's accessories. That's where you paint in 3D. That's a really cool program. Microsoft actually did some work on that. You can build three-dimensional objects in that place. I guess it works, yeah. Go for it. Paint 3D. It's even better than the old Paint. Microsoft actually invested quite a bit into a sculpting program like SketchUp. Paint 3D is actually a very cool tool. I would recommend anyone with kids play with it. If they're artistically inclined, they can have a lot of fun. Yeah, great.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll take over whenever
All right, I'm ready.
Okay,
Let's
thank you.
go here.
Just save as, and it'll be good. You put the date.
Doing so.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'll take over. Sarah's going to take off and get a rest. I'm moving in. I'm going to be doing it. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thanks for.
Want me to go forward? Or?
Come on. I know. I'm just leaving.
Oh, thank you. Okay, happy 4th of July. We are muting anybody who tries to attack us. We have 550 million viewers on UHF and UHF Plus. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, world viewers, and hope that America is going to be a better country in the future, because right now we've got a buffoon as a president. It's pathetic. I don't understand it, but hey, if he wants to be his typical self, and you know, with him, he just gets away with whatever he wants. So, and he doesn't really care if he looks like a buffoon. So it's kind of like we're stuck with him until we actually find specific things he's done, get our ducks in a row, and proceed with impeachment. Other than that, we're kind of stuck here, but there have been some advances. The Senate ruled 97-2 to keep the sanctions against Russia, so that's a good thing. We've got a barrier of defense against Russia controlling us from within, but if they do have the sex tapes on Donald, and it's very likely they do, they could be using them right now to blackmail him. The Russian government could be controlling him, and we wouldn't even know it. Jared Kushner tried to open up a secret channel with the Kremlin at the Russian embassy, using their communication equipment. Scary. And he did that before the election in December. This was the May 26th bombshell that they talked about. December was the time Kushner was reaching out to the Russians. They intercepted a transfer from Kislyak to the Russian embassy, and he was saying things like, "I can't understand this strange request from Jared Kushner. Very strange." You know, so our intelligence got in on it and go like, apparently Jared was trying to get a buyer for the Kushner building at 666 Fifth Avenue, and he was trying to put a buyer together of a Russian oligarch. Now, Trump did this all the time. He uses Russian oligarchs to front his $100 million credit line that we know he has with Russia. So Trump right now has a $100 million credit line with Russia, according to Eric Trump. And that's something that two people witnessed on a golf course. Eric was bragging about how his dad, this is back in December, has a $100 million credit line with Russia. So this is going on. Jared was just trying to get in on the action and get a $4 billion purchase of his property so he and his family could walk away with $400 million. Because right now they're so in debt they can barely meet their minimum payments on that property. Seriously. These people aren't rich. They're incredibly deep in debt. Thank you for Russian accent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm working on the Russian accent. All right. So we get a lot of people coming in here who just don't deserve to be here, so we have to mute them. I could turn guest chat off, but then I wouldn't even see you read. Maybe it's time to turn off guest chat, Dave. Well, I think we're working in the right direction. The Senate's doing their part. They got a couple of really tough guys in the Senate. The House, however, Devin Nunes really screwed up when he took the entire case and dropped it in Trump's lap and said, "This is what they're doing, Mr. Trump." And then James Comey was fired, and then Trump said that he fired him for a variety of reasons, and finally admitted he fired him to get rid of the Russian investigation, which is in and of itself a tacit admission of obstruction of justice. All right, somebody wants to touch themselves, so we're going to play Mr. Right again for you. Thank you. And a lot of you are really getting colorful with your death threats. That's really amazing. You're stepping up your game. I can see that. Impressive. Not.
You're Mr. Right, Mr. Right, too good to be true. You spin my world around, 'cause you're the peace I finally found. You sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, 'cause you make me melt away. You're Mr. Right, too good to be true. My world around, 'cause you're the peace I finally found. You sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, 'cause you make me melt away. you make it, 'cause you make me melt away. Do I miss the right? I miss the right. Too good to be true.
Wow. Heavy duty. Okay, we got a lot of things happening here. Today is Truth Tuesday, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the fact that we've been hit with a lot of lies. Many people are wondering how come there's no bodies evident in the Manchester bomb attack in England. How come there's no bodies evident in the even the London bridge attack? What's going on? How come there's no evidence? And that's the biggest question many people in America are asking. Lack of evidence doesn't convince us that these things are happening. Quite the opposite. I think America is experiencing a kind of an advanced state of crying wolf. When events happen that aren't legitimate, and when real events happen, then people don't even take them seriously. Or the other possibility is these people who are pushing these events are testing their ability to lie to us. So if we don't see evidence, we don't see that they really happen. And I think the American, no, it's not a recording. I answer everything you say, Nelson. I just haven't seen anything worthy of your response. Would you like to, talk to me on a personal level? Yeah, I'm here. I hear you. Ask me any question, man. It's just the nature of Periscope is new to us, so you'll have to put up with us. I'm sorry. Sometimes I don't see this Periscope screen because I've got a bigger chat room over on the side. But that's the reason sometimes I don't respond to you. I know. Nothing I can do. Funny short video of Trump's hair. Okay. Let's take a look at that. I'll paste it over here. Recently, we bought a new computer just to do the show. We had to. It was almost impossible to take all these links. Oh yeah, we've seen this. It's going to be huge. Call it the Bay of Wigs. It's going to be huge. Very funny. Yeah, I remember that GIF. It was around a couple years ago. Yeah, so I think a lot of people are kind of getting new media experiences. So we don't really know if Periscope is going to be the answer to us, because the problem with Periscope is the chat disappears so rapidly. I can read a half an hour's of the chat if I go scroll up in some other room. So it's Periscope's decision to do that. Trump is making America great again. Well, if it was, Nelson, if we were seeing America get great again, we wouldn't see so many people hate us. And we would see more jobs in America. And if you think Trump is making America great again by making a mockery of us around the world, being a bully, pushing people around at the G7, flipping people off at the G7, is that making America great again? I don't know, man. I don't know what your definition of great again is. Is great again being hated around the world? I mean, really? Seriously? So you tell me why you think America's great again. I'm curious. You're Canadian, you love the United States, but you're afraid of their government. Yeah, I don't even leave my own country because the Border Patrol is so very dangerous. They will push you. If you're an American citizen coming back, well, I think we should care, because we have to work in the world, Nelson. And, if you're driving down the road and you don't give a crap about anybody, you're going to run into somebody who also doesn't give a crap about you, and you're going to get your ass kicked, or you're going to kick their ass, one or the other. And we don't want to be an American country that continues to create strife around the world. We really don't. But we're seen as that, and unless we change our ways, we're kind of headed for a collision course with a war in Syria. So unless you want your family going off to a ground war in Syria, your young brothers or even sisters, or your transgender family members, if they're going into battle, you don't want to see these people go into battle against the Russians. I mean, our country right now is being played, and Donald Trump is so far up Kissinger's ass, it's ridiculous. Right when he kicked out Comey, Canada offers you a tremendous amount of potential territory. We have trading rights with Canada that really help us. You should understand that, Nelson. Trump calls for a UN crisis meeting. I think he's having a crisis. And he consults Kissinger to resolve his problems, which is kind of pathetic. I mean, here he is with Henry Kissinger. Right after he fires James Comey and meets with the Russians secretly, and the Russian press secretly, he meets with Henry Kissinger, his New World Order puppet master. So if you think Trump is making America great again, you don't even understand what's going on. Trump is a puppet for the New World Order, and he's simply doing whatever they tell him. But if you don't believe that, just sit back and watch. You'll see it all happen. Okay, Kim Jong-un riles Trump on the 4th. U.S. President calls emergency meeting to formulate measured response to the North Korean record-breaking missile test amid fears one could hit Alaska. Like I said, if Trump has the ability to blow out a missile, you don't need to meet people. Just do it, man. Just blow the missile out of the sky and do it. Show Kim Jong-un your power, Mr. Trump. Show him your American power. Lockheed Martin just tested the anti-ballistic missile system. Just put it to test. Do what you got to do to show Kim Jong-un what he's doing is wrong. Don't just stand there and say, we're going to have a meeting. Oh. Just show some balls. Okay? You're going to let some guy run around messing with you? Okay. Just take a look at my little friend here. You know, just show him your little friend. Say hello to my little friend. I'm just tired of the talk, you know. Actions speak louder than words. Meeting, all this. Just take out that missile with that amazing new Lockheed anti-ballistic system you put it in use. Hey, we have a question from the chat room here. Very, very significant. Dave, what lube do you use? Well, most of the lubrication I use are WD-40 on my bolts and a lot of my screws. But then there's Teflon stuff, and Prolong makes one heck of a lube. You can pretty much lubricate things for life. Well, let's be clear. They're asking me, do you do an Obama impersonation? Well, actually, I'm the guy who did blackface. I'm the original blackface artist who started this whole process back in 2008. I answered your question. I use WD-40 for most of my bolts and screws. When I put a screw in, I use WD-40. I know. You don't need no stinking lube. All the ladies are very moist, okay? You're moving upstate New York, David Nation? Oh, I thought you were going to be assigned to, yeah. I heard you're going to be assigned to a different area. Yonkers. Okay. I thought you were going to White Plains. Okay. Well, that's right. The name of the character was Broken St. Obamas. And it's a worldwide, you know, people know about Broken St. Obamas. Well, in order to do it, I've got to do blackface. And I can't do blackface because Michelle won't let me. She's getting dressed for the Ellen DeGeneres show, but she'll be coming out in just a second. In fact, she's going to be doing a dance for you. Sure. Well, let's be clear. Michelle is a tranny, okay? In fact, we have proof, absolute proof right now in front of your very eyes, if you haven't seen this show. We play this almost every night. I skipped last night just to play tonight because it's a 4th of July special. But I do want to show you Michelle Obama up close and personal in this amazing dance when she did this routine where she seems to have a flapping penis underneath her jumpsuit. Check this out.
And do you think that the country will see the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman president? And do you think that the country will see the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman president?
We already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, we're going to just zip that up. I'm glad I could show you that because it gives you an opportunity to know that you've been lied to over the past 9 years. Ever since Michelle and Barack Obama ran as a Christian couple, They're neither Christian nor straight. They're two dudes, okay? Now, what's really scary is Michelle's planning on running for president as the first female president in 2020. Now, if you don't start realizing how important this is, that she literally has a penis, then you're going to have to recognize that this woman lied to us, committed fraud, and under Obama, veritably didn't help the country much. It just kind of languished in a kind of the doldrums. Never really solved any problems. Even Obamacare has been enormously expensive and way more costly than it was worth. Yeah, so apparently if Michelle wants to run in 2020, the first tranny will be running for president. Seriously. So we have to at least admit she has a penis. The dude, I mean, the dude looks like a lady. Hold on. Phone call. I got it. Yeah, hello. Can I help you? Apparently that was a fake, false alarm there. No call. So a lot of people are hanging out, just trying to stay cool on a cool night. I wonder what the whole American weather scene is like here. Let me take a look. U.S. weather situation. 91 in D.C. right now. So it's getting hot. 91 degrees in D.C. Isolated thunderstorms. Let's go to the USA National Weather Forecast.
We've got a stronger cold front that's going to be dropping through the upper Midwest as we head into Thursday. So this is probably the big day that we're most concerned about for severe weather over the next few. Notice the red highlighted area includes you in Madison, as well as into Green Bay, into Wausau, into the UP of Michigan, Chicago. You'll likely see some showers.
Wow, 96 in Minneapolis.
Holds off towards your north
91 in Chicago.
Damaging wind, the biggest concern here. And then the
Billings, Denver, Dallas, 92, 113, 116 in Phoenix. Look at that, folks.
Through your Friday. Look at the
116 in Phoenix. You're getting Pensacola, Florida. You got 80 degrees, 68 in Toronto. Nice.
Southeast, drying it up and cooling down in Minneapolis with 78 degrees for your Friday. How about Saturday?
It's going to cool off a little bit by Saturday.
97
That's cool.
in Billings, and for your Sunday.
All right, good. Thank you so much.
Look at this, 85 in Minneapolis.
All right. Yeah, the Northwest is a beautiful area. It's very temperate here. It's not too cold at all. I'm not too hot. We've got 78 degrees right now. The hottest it gets where I live in Pacific Northwest outside of Seattle is 85. So if you really want to leave your area and go to a more temperate area, Pacific Northwest is a very, very nice place to live. Mr. Weatherheim, yes. And Bengalitis, you haven't rained in 2 months. Right, there was this big downpour a couple months ago in California, but no rain since. I know. All I got was a bad, like a crank call, Jason. Yeah. So I guess, we're pretty much responding mostly to the chat at Vaughn because not enough people chat at Periscope. But if you do say something, I'll try to read it. We're live streaming from the desktop over here. Whoa, trippy dude. Macy's parade happening behind me. This is amazing. I think they go on all night long at Macy's. All night long. What do you mean? You weren't in a cell with some fat Spanish guy? Come on. Were you arrested? Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, Macy's has an endless supply of money, so they just keep putting fireworks in the air. They must have got a good deal this year. I think some of the people, in the neighborhood doing a little business were very kind to donate a lot of extra fireworks from last year's firework concession stand. You know what I'm talking about? There's a lot of heavy-duty people in New Jersey and New York that support Macy's, if you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. We got a lot of silent partners went into the amazing 4th of July thing that they got going on there. So how about that Chris Christie took down the entire 13 miles of New Jersey beach coast to have a family gathering? Did you hear about that? Yeah. It was unbelievable. Chris Christie went ahead and, thank you. Chris Christie went ahead and did this unbelievable takedown of the beach so he and his family could have his little private beach day. Beach day with the Christie family. He should do it like a show, I think. You know, kind of a regular show. The Christie family goes on a beach day. Be great to bring the cameras in. Instead of like the Biggest Loser, call it The Biggest Liar. That would be good. Let's see if we have a picture of Chris Christie. Here it is. 13 miles of stretched beach, all emptied. So he can sit there with his family. The rest of the people are all down the way, and he's like sitting there smiling. There he is. Are you talking to me about porn? What kind of a question is that? Who the hell wants to talk about their personal porn problem? Yeah, some of you are porn addicts. You just talk to everybody about your porn addiction? Yeah, well, whatever. I'm not here to denigrate people who are overweight, okay? But 13 miles, did I say 13 miles? I'm sorry. 1.3 miles. My bad. Yeah, I read it as 13. It's 1.3. But still, that's quite a stretch of beach, don't you think? His thighs are so big. I'll tell you, his thighs are so big, he's got zip codes for each one of them. I'll tell you, take my wife, for example. She's on the beach like a beach whale. All right. It's good I didn't open for Shecky Green and the Catskills. Otherwise, the old people would have been going, oh, God, not him again. No, I don't. I love the fact that I'm not burdened with children in my life. I have no children. I think you really have to think of the long-term effects of children if you're going to have children and weigh all the opportunities. I couldn't do this and have a child. I would feel like a horrible dad because my kid would be in the other room and I'd be in here talking to you. I mean, what a waste. I'd rather be playing Xbox 360 with my kid if I had a kid. Yeah, you know, Christy could get behind my blimp plane opportunity. No, I could have multiple children. In fact, my genetic material is stored in a vault deep in the Norwegian mountainside. And if I ever need it, I could actually bring it up and, you know, sprout little Davids everywhere. Wouldn't that be great to have your genetic material in the vault, in the Norwegian seed vault? Yeah, I am a Norwegian. Yeah. You got the doors playing lower behind you, Dave. It's very odd with the fireworks behind us. Quite the experience. Whoa, Monkey Time's tripping out to his own weird visual display. As long as you're not on heavy drugs, Monkey Times, you're okay, dude. I love farms. The fact that farms need to be revived with more organic and obviously fertilization, but natural fertilization, we're going to be much more drought resistance if we have better quality soil. So, part of my legalization campaign to bring legal marijuana to this country also involves a national composting plan to improve the soil. Because frankly, the truth is, we're going to have another dust bowl if we let agribusiness and chemical fertilizers dominate our planet. So I support this concept called legal pot. Yeah. And I'm not alone. More than half the country is in favor of it, 58%. Thank you. And I actually believe in what I'm promoting as a re-agrification of our nation. And I've talked about this since the 1970s when I introduced the idea to a boardroom of Bank of America corporate executives. When they were putting out a competition, I competed in a science math competition, and everybody loved the idea. But the board didn't like it. They actually didn't even put me in the placing. I didn't even place. Everyone said, man, you were incredible. You definitely won this. And I walked out and I was like, no, they didn't want anyone to make sense. They wanted kiss asses. but I was up for the Bank of America Regional Science and Math Award back in 1977. And I was introducing this concept called reagrification at that time, which I thought would really help the country, because our Dust Bowl can't happen again. Unless, if it may happen, but if it can't happen if we're going to be better. We've got to get our soil in good health. And that includes victory gardens for all of you, a recycling plan in every city in America and township in America, where we'll open up 5 acres of property, state or federal property, just for putting the soil into an enrichment process, where we use biofuel to run large machinery, tilling the soil. We got 680 million. Excellent. Thank you, guys. Where we till the soil with biofuel running on hempoline, which is derived from cannabis. And in the process, we can go to every market and every restaurant that wants to get rid of their food waste, and we pick it up in containers that have food waste that can be recycled into the ground. So our composting, thank you, Abnormal, our composting is absolutely the central part of providing low-cost fertilizer for everybody. We're talking like 50 cents a bag, whereas right now you'll pay $2 to $3 a 40-pound bag of fertilizer. We'll get the price down to 50 cents. It's a plan to get much better soil in our gardens and help people build a sustainable garden. Now, in Estonia, the people in Eastern Europe have victory gardens, and they can all the time. That's how Russia and all of the late Soviet nations that were there that broke up when the Soviet Union collapsed, that's how they survived very tough economic situations the past 20, 30, 40 years. So we're seeing a need, 30 years, we're seeing a need for people having their own food source. So that's very, very central to my plan. But also having a meeting with Monsanto and Dow and getting them to start thinking of natural processes integrated with our chicken industry. I know Tyson Foods has a problem with chicken waste. Give them an open, free opportunity to recycle that. The government may need to help a little bit financially, but the money we make from the legal pot will be 10%. So anytime somebody sells the pot, this money will go into the National Composting Plan. So we'll be able to fund a lot of these operations to get them started using the money from the pot revenue. We'll also be able to give money back to the states, so the states can't impose an extra tax. But 10% on everything being sold at the retail level, and 10% on the middleman handling the stuff, wholesaling it to the retail stores. So that's a 10% increase, and 10% from the final sale when you go buy it. So there might be as much as 30% markup, but believe me, we have more of a markup in the state of Washington. We have 42%. And the state of Washington is almost an example of how well to run this system, because Washington's already got $400 million in revenue from the sale of marijuana. They've more than surpassed $1 billion in sales this past 2 years. California expects $5 billion in revenue, sales, and possibly $1 billion in sales tax from the sale of marijuana starting now, as soon as they get the stores going. Nevada just opened their stores recently in Vegas about 2-3 days ago. So this is going to, it really isn't just 10%, because it's really 30%. If the grower sells it to the middleman has to pay 10%. If the middleman sells it to the retail sector, there has to be a 10% sale. If the retail sector will sell it to you, you're paying another 10%. So your markup is definitely worthwhile to help finance a growth process where we help the soil, help soil management, and that'll increase the sale of pot, cannabis, and hemp. And CBD oil is very beneficial. I started the show off with 2 testimonials, one from a person with Parkinson who rubbed a little CBD oil, which is non-psychoactive, in his cheek. His symptoms of Parkinson's disappeared within minutes. Another person took a hit on a water pipe of marijuana. The guy was having a seizure, a petit mal seizure, and his seizure symptoms went away in about 5 minutes after smoking a couple bowls of marijuana. So we are sitting on a tremendous medicinal plant here that our government has been suppressing for years. And it's about time we get people in government who are ready to make the move at the federal level, because this guy, Trump and Sessions, they're not happening. They're a couple of squares that should never have arrived at this office. If Trump hadn't stolen 10 of my ideas, he wouldn't have even been president. Hillary would have been president. He literally stole 10 of my ideas to become president, using my ideas as selling points for his ridiculous campaign to help the country, which is him sitting there watching himself on TV. Trump spends all his time watching himself on TV and tweeting. That's his daily event. Now, I'm not forcing people to smoke pot, but I believe that if we don't move toward legalization rapidly, we're never going to be able to get this thing really off the ground. We really need to move much quicker than the federal government's allowing these states to do it. All right, let's see what else we have here. This story came in this week. Really, really powerful story about Brad Pitt saying the elite Hollywood pedophiles control America. Very serious. Now, Brad Pitt has come out talking about this stuff, and he made a very, very solid statement. I'm going to give you guys the link to this. We got here by not doing enough, by not allowing our system to actually work. Because the system is censored and people like Brad Pitt, this is the only place you'll ever read this stuff because the mainstream media won't cover the story. But people like Brad Pitt are finally stepping up. But because the system is so completely shut down, that's how we got here. Yeah, weed can save the defunct, it can stabilize local economies. So true. At this point, Mr. Bellows, you're right. Yeah. We have a lot of solutions to the problems facing the country, but I do want to touch on what Brad Pitt is talking about. The truth is, he said it very succinctly, the pedophiles are running Hollywood. And the true depths of Hollywood's pedophile rings need an expose. And as a 30-year seasoned veteran in the movie business, Pitt speaks about witnessing the dark side of the entertainment industry firsthand. He describes how the whole TV and film industry is run around a culture of grooming children for child trafficking that reach across the United States and beyond into the upper echelons of the political spectrum and societal hierarchy. He goes on to say, thank you. You think Hollywood is about making movies, but that's just a byproduct. It's about money, and more importantly, power and control. The people who run Hollywood also run America and most of the world, and they don't care about movies. You've heard of the Illuminati, right? The secret societies, the politicians, the bankers, and the media. They're the ones running these pedophile rings, and they're the ones that run the world, and it all goes back to Hollywood. Kids want to be in movies, or should I say parents want their kids to be in movies, and they'll do anything to get them famous. So this is how these elitists exploit the children, and they eventually get them into pedophile rings of people that bounce them around and manipulate and sexually abuse them. And it's even worse than that. So if we don't get a third party to actually stop this pedophilia, because obviously the two parties are ignoring it, they're trying to pretend like Pizzagate needs to go away and we shouldn't be allowed to talk about Pizzagate and all this. If we allow them to literally squash the story right now, we will be doing the worst thing we can possibly do. If good people do nothing, evil persists. And right now we've got a wake-up call. We've got an opportunity to build this third party and stop these pedophile rings in D.C. We have an opportunity to shut this entire corruption down and get back to what we should be, a nation of and by the people. But we've fallen so far away from that, we become a nation of and by the TV viewers. And we're not making decisions about what's on TV. We don't control what the message is. And that's the problem. This past week we talked about a situation in which a person was literally, he went on duty for a friend of him, supposedly at a hospital in Brooklyn, and opened fire on another doctor and allegedly shot that doctor. And apparently the news said that he shot himself in the head and he lit his torso on fire. Well, there's a problem with that story, because this image shows not only him having perfectly no holes or blood emanating from his head. But there's absolutely no image you can see there's no blood around his head. You can see also that his coat is intact and it wasn't set on fire. So there's something wrong here when we have the picture of a decedent who allegedly lit himself on fire and shot himself in the head. It's impossible to believe that this is really something that happened. Well, somebody called up, How I See the World, this guy who does a show on the internet. He called up and he got them to admit it was an actual crisis acting event. It was a crisis acting event, and so they just went live with it and acted like it was real. And this is how sloppy this stuff is. So we've got people trying to convince us that there's terrorism out there, but the truth is, it's not as much as we think. There's not as much violent acts being conducted than we think. What this is them trying to push for gun control, to get us to all go, oh, it's so dangerous if people get a hold of guns, and then they'll do bad things at the hospital. Oh. It wants us to get rid of our guns. They want to disarm us so that they can take us down. And the truth is, every single Holocaust in the history of Holocausts has been preceded by gun control. Every single one. Stalin had gun control in Russia when he took down 20 million Russians, sent them to gulags. Hitler had gun control. An international gun control treaty was invoked against the ethnic minorities. No one was allowed to have weapons in the ghetto. Then they went in and took them down. Pol Pot had gun control in Laos, Cambodia. He made sure nobody had guns. That's when he killed 9 million people and stacked their skulls in a big pile. So believe me, gun control isn't a pretty thing. I don't support gun control, and I was just given a higher rating to the NRA. They just upped me up to B+. Thank you very much. So these goals have got to be sidelined for gun control. We can't waste our time with that. The American people want to bear right. The gun rights are secure in our Second Amendment. So if they think they're going to keep pushing this, the liberals, forget it. It's not going to happen. And when I started this whole plan, I actually got very influenced by the people on the right when they convinced me, you've got to protect yourself. Gun crime went down when guns were allowed in Washington and Chicago in 2010. Believe it or not, there was a handgun law saying you couldn't have a handgun prior to that, and the Supreme Court ruled, no, you can have handguns in Chicago and D.C. Right after that, gun crimes went down 34%. And opposite to that, in Australia in the 80s, when they implemented gun control, home invasions increased 60%. You can pay attention to chat. Yeah, it's no offense to me. I'm watching chat intensely. I'm just waiting for some questions. You know, I'll only answer questions that are directed to me. Is it true where guns are allowed, the gun crimes went down? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In Chicago and in D.C. in 2010, the crime stats show 34% reduction in gun crimes when guns were allowed. And similarly, in Australia, they imposed gun control, and the home invasions went up 60% right after that. Okay. So, if you think the Trump-Russian thing is over, well, NBC News reported this past week that there's a Democratic bill that laid the groundwork to remove Trump from office. So don't think for a second this is not happening. They're going to try to use the 25th Amendment declaring him physically or mentally unfit to be president. Now, his behavior today, walking around outside of the Air Force One is very strange. I'll play it again for you. He's coming down off the plane, and the limo's right there. Watch this. The limo's right there. And this Immediately takes a right turn and walks into nowhere. He doesn't even know where he's going. Yeah, yeah, you're expected back at the car. Yeah. So for some reason he was a bit confused, and we're not sure why. Did you see this one? He gets out of he walks down, and he doesn't know where he is. His car is right there. He's a little confused. And he takes an immediate right turn, and then he's looking for where to go. He's a little lost. He doesn't know where he's doing.
Did he see some pretty woman or something?
No, he realized he didn't know where to go.
Oh,
So
he really did.
He really did not know where to go.
He really didn't know where to go.
Yep. So apparently the Russians must have slipped him a Mickey or something, and he didn't really know what to do. All right, thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, I was quite shocked.
That is quite shocking.
And I've been very bad to my viewers over at.
Anita says something in YouTube up there.
Oh, Anita said something. Anita said, obviously you need knives to cut food. Oh yeah, it's hard to make a dinner without a knife, Anita. Even a plastic knife, if you have to get a plastic
Especially
knife.
onions. You need a knife to cut an onion.
I think I'm getting more sun than I should. I better tone it down a little bit. Let me lighten it up. Or it's the red in your dress that's picked up the camera.
It probably is the red in my outfit.
Let me bring this up a little bit.
How did Sarah appear? She was behind the video of Trump.
Yeah, she was hanging out behind the video.
I just walked in like a second ago.
Yes.
Probably true, Mama Vaughn.
I don't know. Some people just like to come here. Anita Carolyn is there. Or I like pie. Something, maybe that's her. No, I have never been a part of Trump's agenda. I'm the guy who's been promoting ideas that he's been stealing. And I've always been here. It's just that I don't get any coverage in my own country.
Happy 4th, Jeff. Okay.
That's ridiculous. Sarah doesn't want to get pregnant, and I don't want to have a child, so. I chart my progress by the number of millions of viewers I get every night around the world. I never thought it possible that we could grow so fast, but we literally went like this through 2008, 2012, in 2016 it started to tip here, and then we skyrocketed with the UHF. So even though the mainstream media is censoring us daily, and they're censoring us on this network, and people can't even get in our room when they try to sometimes, we literally have seen this growth on the international scene. So we're kind of the opposite of the Beatles. We'll become famous around the world before we become famous in our own country.
Pi is hubby's dad's surname, Anita says. I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
I'm gonna go get some more water.
I'm not ruling out the idea of storing my genetic material
For some other woman to have your child.
for artificial insemination to occur at a later date for somebody who wants to carry my baby. But believe me, I can probably father multiple children. It's just that I don't want to tear myself away from this incredible show, which continues to get better every day. You are my baby. Oh, the little baby, how are you doing? We don't need to show my viewership to those that don't know. You either believe or you don't. I've got supporters that don't believe I have viewers overseas, and they still support me. So I have to accept that fact. Sarah doesn't believe everything she hears about UHF, but hey,
I think that they
slowly it's going to come around.
Broadcasting you on UHF. I'm not sure of the term millions of viewers, but I think there are people that are broadcasting you on UHF.
She doesn't believe that millions of people watch us every night. That's what makes Sarah so great. She's an average American.
Makes you awful.
No, it's what makes you great. You're an average American who's not putting on airs and pretending to be somebody you're not, because you have millions of viewers watching you. Welcome, worldwide audience.
massive worldwide audience.
David, will you impregnate my wife? No strings attached. No. Can I black out one of my teeth to look like Alfred E. You know, to say that I look like Alfred E. Newman is ridiculous because I don't, and I've run my face against his many times, and I can tell you, if you put my face against his right now and say, yeah, David, you look like Alfred E. Newman, let me show you how wrong you are, okay?
Oh, hi, Mad Dog. Thank you.
Say, I don't look a bit like him.
He looks a lot like you. No.
Yeah, I don't look a bit like him. He looks a lot like me, though.
I kind of do. I don't know. I'm just kidding. No, you don't look like him.
I don't look like him, no.
No, you're way better looking than
Oh, yeah, way better looking. I mean, I'm not even attracted to Alfred E. Newman because I'm not gay.
Ears, you know, he has like these weird ears.
Right. He has Obama ears.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect match. Uncanny resemblance. Now, if I look like David Soul, now David Soul's struggling right now. He's got some ailments. Not many people realize how how hard of a life he's had. But we hope he gets better. But he was a guy on Starsky and Hutch. He was Hutch, the legendary David Soul.
I guess a little bit. I mean, you kind of have a similar forehead, maybe?
No, I don't look a bit like David Soul.
I was going to say, I don't think you look like him either.
No.
You definitely don't look like whoever that guy is that's getting... Wait, is that a heavier David Soul? 2014?
This is the earlier David Soul. This is the David Soul that was the person we all knew and loved. Okay, yeah, I don't look a bit like that guy. Thank you very much, everyone. So we do know that Barron Trump has not been heard at all. So if anybody has a video of Barron Trump, I'm all over it, please. Anybody who has him saying anything, that'd be great.
I don't think anyone's going to release a video of Barron saying anything.
Just like, Daddy, Mama, something like that. Or like, Kathy Griffin is a, whatever. Something like that, anything. And is there anything at all on Barron Trump? Search the internet just to find him speaking. You're saying I'm the adult version of Dennis the Menace. How do you know I'm not Dennis the Menace? How do you know I don't?
You're not Dennis.
What if I was Dennis the Menace? Wouldn't that trip you out? The original actor. Yeah. I'm not, but wouldn't it be trippy if I was? Somebody said I was like Bobby Brady on the young Bobby Brady. That they say I look like him.
No, but she did smoke a doobie to Zellfire.
I want to see the movie Wonder Woman. I'd be willing to go to a theater to see it, believe it or not.
Really?
With you, yes.
Really?
Yeah. If you want to hook it up, find Wonder Woman and we'll go to a theater.
Well,
not right now.
Not the local theater.
It won't be local. It'll be somewhere in the U.S. Some remote location.
Alfred E. Newman in a weird hat. Okay.
Yeah. So clearly I'm not Alfred E. Newman or David Soul.
It's like a combination of David. What's the ham?
This is supposed to be a good
All
movie.
Right.
Hacksaw Ridge.
That with you.
So we did deliver, what is interesting about Trump is he delivered another missile of his own.
Why is the homepage video 10 seconds ahead of this? Because this homepage video uses Flash and this site uses HTML5.
Right. Our new this is the missile launch that we did just to prove that we have missiles just like North Korea. I mean, this is ridiculous. They launch missiles, we launch missiles. It's ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Okay. You starting your cards again, but more of a hobby. You're making cards?
That's cool. Are you making your own what kind of cards are they?
Greeting cards?
Tarot cards? Are you hand painting your own tarot cards in spirit blood?
No.
That would be weird. Okay. We have a match. Apparently, I look just like an old actor. William H. Macy is a 53% match. That's not much, really. 53%. I mean, Paul McCartney is a 66% match to the original Paul McCartney. So.
Thanks, Mad Dog. I wonder what my match is. Wait, I know what it is.
You know the person you match?
No, I have no idea. Mad Dog and DT Laura do.
They know the woman that you look just
somebody, like. I don't know. You think Katharine Hepburn?
I think
they say somebody else.
Well, I mean,
who's the actress I look like? Mad Dog?
Katharine Hepburn. The colour is on in bloom again. Such a lovely flower. I wore it on my wedding day. She had very square jawline.
I don't think I look like Katharine Hepburn.
I don't think you do. I think I look like Katharine Hepburn.
My nose is totally different.
Yeah, she has a pointed nose. Your nose is better than hers.
Oh, wait, click on the one that Laura has in the room. She says I look like her.
Okay, let's take a look. We've got another Laura Branigan. Let's take a look. We're moving in on the match.
I don't know. You have to adjust my face.
Now you have to look at it too.
I can't look at it. It's off to the side.
No, it's okay.
You have to adjust my face.
I can't adjust your face. I'm not going to adjust your face. You're not like...
No,
No, you get your head in the position.
Like that. Like... No.
Everyone can just do a side-to-side comparison on Sarah if you want. But yeah, I see this different resemblance. Don't smile. You have a larger, I don't know, you have slightly more of a jawline than she does.
And then he also, Mad Dog thinks I look like Victoria Winters. Go to that one.
Okay, so this is called Self-Love with Dave and Sarah. Billie Jean is just mine. You know, I can see definite, yeah. I mean, oh yeah.
I don't know.
You know, I dated a woman that looked more like this woman than Sarah does. So. It's interesting. My first girlfriend looked like that.
Like
Victoria Winters, yeah. Actually, she wasn't my first girlfriend. My first girlfriend went insane. Had nothing to do with me. It's all in my book. I'm writing my book right now. It's an incredible experience to write a book, I'll tell you that. Well, there's a lot of jealousy going on here. I can't control it.
Wow, Anita, I guess you have to figure out how much to charge for the cards.
Playboy with Dave. Hey, how you doing? They used to call me Salad Bar Dave because I'd hang out at the salad bar and try to pick up on women. Hey, do you like cherry tomatoes?
Thank you, Bingo.
Hey,
but did
nice
you tell
choice.
Me you would give
Horse?
No, I don't care.
No better way to start the new year.
It's great to have you, AJ.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you for watching Extra on you.
That's all he said. Baron said something. He said no.
Okay, let's take a look. We got Baron speaking.
From the very beginning. Maybe it's not best that you play it.
Why not?
Well,
it's professionally edited video.
Cool, the Donald's chopper in the air. This is how Trump throws a backyard party.
Happy New Year.
Well, thank you, AJ.
Do you do resolutions?
I do resolutions. I think staying away from food would be a good thing for me.
Trump avoiding the finger food, but giving extra VIP pass to his Palm Beach Mar-a-Lago estate as he kicks off the new year with the first...
Greatest horses.
So you're going to get out on a horse there?
No, I'm not going to do that.
What, you're going to jump
I'll
on
stay to the golf course.
Horse?
No.
No better way to start the new year.
He said no. See, he's good.
He's not getting on a horse.
He said no. We have confirmation Baron does speak. That's cool. That's good. That's awesome.
Why are you sorry, but you think he looks like you?
Oh no, she continues to think that I look like that David Caruso guy.
Yeah, David Caruso.
You know, yeah. From The Who. We don't get fooled again.
Maybe you have a little similar personality.
I think you're right. Very intense.
Maybe that's it. Maybe your personality is kind of like Caruso.
I am very intense. Yow!
Sarah, my wife told me to tell you how lucky you are to live with a 5-star chef. Thank you.
Thank you. And even though I'm not trained, we like to think that we're living in a 5-star hotel. Even though we're not living in a 5-star hotel. It's a modular home and we happen to have a swim spa, which I built with Sarah with used material and did it for $6,000. Yeah. Well, you name one 5-star hotel you can jump in a swim spa at 2 in the morning, and nobody's going to say, excuse me, sir, you're not allowed to swim in the swim spa.
After hours.
Yeah, I can start up my swim spa at 3 in the morning with friends over, and we can have a time in the swim spa together. Not that I've ever done that because I don't have any friends who know me here. All my friends are all around the country. Luckily, I don't have any local friends. A modular home is a prefabricated home that's on wheels initially, and then when they come in and put them together, they take the wheels off.
All right, I think that was enough, right?
I'm going to come back. I'll be right back. Thank you.
Yeah, David definitely looks far younger than David Caruso. That's true. All right. Your brother would reset the modem without you knowing? Thank you. I thought a trailer was like a motorhome, like a RV is a trailer. A mobile home, I guess, is similar to prefabricated, modular, whatever. Yeah, now I guess trailer might be the older term. Mobile home is a newer term. Guests off, please. I don't know. Hello, One Way. I guess I should go get some new, let's see, YouTube Live. Fireworks Live. Your Iraqi what? Oh, that's funny. That is hilarious, DT Laura. Alright, Brian. Nice! Your wife made egg potato salad. 6 meals, $4. Yes, very good. Actually, we did not cook anything for New Year's. We went to definitely not doing that. Okay. Alright. Trump is doing fireworks, Macy's, and White House in Disney World. Hosted. I'm not gonna watch that channel. I'm gonna miss the fireworks? Yes. Have either David or I changed our views that we've held over the years? Yes. In fact, David used to not believe so much in conspiracy theories, and now he does. I'm going to put this behind me. I think this is pretty cool. Or I'll leave it over here. There we go. Okay. Thank you. All right. So that's one of the things that seems to have changed over the years. I do enjoy my genetics. Is that shocking? Really? David used to be kind of like me. He used to not really believe in chemtrails. He used to think that chemtrails were contrails. He used to think fluoride was, dentists claimed it was good for your teeth, so it was probably good for your teeth. He used to think that we landed on the moon. So I would say David has changed a lot of his ideas over the years. Have I changed my ideas over the years? I don't necessarily think so. I don't think that you should drink fluoride. No, 443. I don't think you should drink it, but I don't think that. I think rinsing with fluoride is not horrible for you. Yes, I do think God exists, and I think I've always thought that God exists. And 818 said, Sarah, we all thought our government wouldn't do things like that, but now we found out that they have agendas. And Mr. Bella says, most conspiracies are later proven true. There's this quote I saw once in an old science magazine. It said, every new discovery in science is a further revelation of God. That's kind of how I believe it, because I do believe in both science and in a higher power. Thank you, 441. I'm glad I'm in David's life too. God can be whatever you want. I think it's a personal relationship. Well, I do drink filtered water. I already answered your question, 404. Yes, I think God exists. But I'm an existentialist. Actually, 404, to say it more, to further specify what I believe, I would say this. I believe whether or not I think God exists doesn't change the fact whether or not God exists. So I think that what I think is not important. I don't necessarily think it's for definition. And I don't think it's anyone's purpose to convince. If I have to convince somebody of something, it's not going to change anything. Thank you, crackhead. Or sorry, thank you, Bob, for saying my boss is beautiful. David's sister Connie actually gave me this blouse. Existentialism is cool, postmodernism is bad. I don't really know too much about postmodernism. There you go. It's more of a personal relationship, 404. I grew up Christian, so I'm very indoctrinated into that religious ideology. However, I no longer attend a Christian church or a church of any kind. Because I think, I kind of think the whole idea of religion being for oftentimes religion is used as a means of control, and I think that is wrong. You're now prepped for the work week ahead. Welcome back, Jeff. You're prepped up for your work week. Good. Probably nature. The Bible was written by men. Busy was an altar boy. Yeah. But I love looking at the cells in my skin, and all these little tiny cells, and inside these little tiny cells are atoms that make up the cells, and atoms that make up, and the little DNA strand in each of these cells is pretty amazing. Like, if you focus on your hands, you can zoom in, and I like looking at that. Thanks, Jeff, for the compliment about the red. Yeah, I think red's a good color. Who said that, 757? I think David does believe that. I think he might. Whatever Shiva is, I don't know what that is. Well, I grew up in the Christian faith for 04, so I probably, but I think what I believe doesn't really matter, nor should influence what you believe. What do you believe? And why is it so important to you? Who's to say each cell isn't its own universe? I know. That's one of the things I used to think. You know how they say, like, the universe is expanding and contracting, right? I used to think, like, what if the universe expanding and contracting is kind of like our heartbeats? What if the universe were the energy and the heartbeat of an even bigger being? It's pretty cool. And things can be so minuscule, and then things can be so complex. The multiverse theory. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Where do I think I will go? I think I will be an angel. To help, to continue helping all of the people on Earth. I think I'll stay on Earth. There might be other places I'm needed, but I think I'll stay on Earth. I think my physical body will be eaten by worms. That would be kind of cool. Ooh, all those worms. That would be so cool and weird at the same time. And what if I, like, they planted a seed? What kind of tree would I want planted? An oak? I like oaks. Oh, thanks, 818. What if they put, like, an acorn seed? I love worms. People don't know I actually like worms. I love this place. I know, Earthlings are fascinating, especially me. No, I'm just teasing. All Earthlings are fascinating, but yeah, maybe an oak tree, not a palm tree, not a pine tree. Oh, it could be an apple tree or a pear tree. Oh, that's what should happen. I should have I should carry around like a pear seed. I love pears. I have a pear tree growing outside in my yard. He'd love to be reincarnated as a mighty oak on the edge of a farm pasture. I don't know if I'd be reincarnated. I don't know. But about that. I mean, I think I do sometimes wonder about reincarnation. Like, are people put back on Earth to retest their knowledge and how much they've learned? Where will I go? I will be shrouded in a linen cloth. My body will be shrouded in a linen cloth and placed in a cedar basket or a cedar box. David doesn't like the idea of worms, but I think then I would be placed in a cedar box, and inside of my belly button would be some pear seeds. I'll have to tell David about the pear seeds because I like the pear seed idea. I really do. That's kind of a neat idea. I never thought of that before. Or an acorn. There's a story I really like about an acorn. It's called, oh goodness, where do I have that story? I can't even remember the name of it, but it's about a boy who lives in the future, and there's no trees allowed, and the only trees that are allowed are plastic trees. It was written a long time ago. It must have been written in like the 1960s, before they realized like trees are so needed for oxygen that we wouldn't get rid of them. I'm thinking it would be an acorn tree instead. Maybe a Gary oak, because I live in Oak Harbor, which is known out of Gary oak. But this cool story, like he takes the elevated train to the station, and then he takes the Airbus and the maglev car, and he's going on this trip with his parents, and his parents are going to take him on this trip to this house that they read about. And the thing about this house was that it was special because they had a backyard, which was illegal. We have gotten rid of a lot. And they had a backyard which was illegal, and they said, and he walks through the house, and all the parts of the house are roped off, like to keep people from touching anything. And he's like, but nobody really cared about that stuff anyway, because everybody's eyes were on the backyard. And in the backyard, he said it was massive. It was like 10 foot by 10 foot. Like, that's massive. And he felt this green grass growing, and he's like, he didn't know really what it was, but it was like green little soft things growing up. And then A reforested desolate valley. That's pretty cool. All right, so but he saw the tree, and it was huge, and you could see it looked like an etching in it where someone had drawn a heart a long time ago. And then he kind of felt sad because they were saying that they were going to demolish the house and the tree would have to go too. And it made him kind of sad, and he stooped down and he picked up this object. It felt like kind of like a marble, but it had this little rough hat on it. And he put it in his pocket. And the way that the author described it was so great. Like, you could tell, thank you, Liberty Rising. Oh, I like your name. And you could tell it was an acorn, exactly. And I love that story. And he went home, and I really think that would be cool to have an acorn. It's a short story. It was published in a magazine. Shiva is an Indian god idol. Okay, I didn't know who that was. Okay. What's it called? I don't know the name of it. I have to look through my stuff now. It's called the tree. It's called the acorn. What is it called? Autumn time? I think that's what it's called. I think it's called Autumn Time. Yes, this is it. Oh, it's such a good story. Here it is. No, if someone called me fat, I wouldn't be offended. I know what it stands for. Pretty hot and tempting. If someone's called me skinny, I wouldn't be offended. I don't like people talking about my teeth. That's kind of like a... Yeah, it's like this. I saw my first tree today. Dad finally broke down and took us to the East Boston Urban Center after Mom had been harping on it for the past 2 weeks. I think he was glad we went after all because he was smiling quietly all during the trip back. Dad used to tell me stories about the trees that still existed when he was a boy. There weren't very many even then with the urbanization program in full swing, but most people had seen at least one tree by the time they started school. It wasn't like nowadays at any rate. Oh, I've seen the plastic trees. Practically every street has a few of them. But you can tell the plastic ones are artificial just from looking at the pictures in the microdot library. This morning when we got up, the house was all excited. Mom dialed a light breakfast of toast and synthetic milk so we wouldn't waste time eating. And when finished, the three of us took an elevator bus up to the 4th level where we caught the air track to Brooklyn. From there, we took another elevator bus down to main level, rode the monorail to Intercity Subway Station 27, and caught the 2nd sublevel AA train to Boston. Our expectations were so high but Dad and I didn't mind it when Mom told us again how the tree was discovered. The O'Brien home was one of the few examples of old-style wooden structures that hadn't been demolished in Boston's urban renewal campaign at the turn of the century. The family had been able to avoid this because of its wealth and political influence, and the house was passed on through several generations to the present. Old Man O'Brien had no heirs, so when he died, the family home went up for auction, and the urban center bought it. When local officials arrived for an appraisal, they discovered that the house had a backyard, which was forbidden by zoning restrictions. In the yard was a live tree. An oak is what Mom called it. O-K-E. When the news of the tree's discovery leaked out, quite a few sightseers stopped by to have a look at it, and the local government, realizing the money-making potential, began charging admission and advertising the place. By now, it had become a favorite spot for school trips and family excursions such as ours. When we arrived in Maine, Boston, we rode the elevator bus up to ground level and caught a monorail out to East Boston Urban Center 3. An air-cush taxi took us the rest of the way to the residence. The home itself was unimpressive. It had none of the marble gloss or steely sheen of modern buildings, but was rather a dull white color with the paint peeling in places. Dad paid the admission fee, and we spent the next 15 minutes on a dull, guided tour of the house. The rooms were roped off to keep people from touching anything, but there were no windows facing the illegal backyard anyway, so it really didn't matter that I couldn't enter the rooms on that side. My mind was on the tree, and I thought the inside tour would never end. But soon we were walking through a doorway hidden in one of the bookshelves and into the backyard. The yard was big, at least 10 by 20 feet, and I was surprised to find real grass growing on the sides of the concrete walkway built for tourists. The grass didn't distract me for long, however, because I just couldn't help noticing the tree. It was located at one end of the yard, and there was a mesh fence around it for protection. It was similar in form to the plastic trees I'd seen, but there was much more to it than that. You could see details more intricate than in any artificial plant, and it was alive. Long ago, someone had carved their initials in the bark, and you could see where the wound had healed. But best of all was the smell. It was a fresh, living odor, alien to the antiseptic world outside with all its metal, plastic, and glass. I wanted to touch the bark, but the fence prevented me from doing so. Mom and Dad just breathed deeply and stared up with smiles on their faces. The three of us stood there for a moment, and then the tour guide told us to make room for the next group. I didn't want to go. In fact, I almost felt like crying. On the way back home, Mom and Dad were silent, and I read through one of the brochures the guide had passed out. When I came to the part that said the O'Brien home would only be open only for the rest of this year, I was sad. They intend to tear down the place to make room for some kind of insurance building, and the tree will have to go too. For the rest of the trip, I just sat still, fingering the object in my pocket, which I had picked up off the grass in the O'Brien's backyard.
It was an object?
He didn't even say, and then he says, I think it's called an acorn. Actually, when I remember reading, I always stop right there before I say what it's called.
Okay.
I think
it could be fingering an acorn.
Because he saw an oak tree.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
People were asking me where will I go when I pass away, and I said I want to be buried with an acorn.
With an acorn, so it can grow into a tree.
Yes.
That's so beautiful.
I want to be buried with a Gary oak acorn.
A Gary oak. Wow, those are the
if
biggest
I'm in
oaks.
Oak Harbor.
They're the biggest oaks, yeah. A Gary oak acorn, okay. I'll remember that.
Wrapped in white linen or linen. It doesn't have to be white.
Why are we so melancholic tonight?
In a cedar box.
How did this descend into melancholia?
Somebody kept asking me, hey Sarah, 404 kept asking me, do you believe in God? Do you believe in God? Do you believe in God?
Wow.
And I said, yes, I believe in God. And then they said, where will you go when you die? Where will you go when you die? And that's why I became so melancholic.
Well, thank you for answering all these questions, because I think we have a musical song to dedicate our show to, which is an ongoing, endless ripping into our emotional selves on a nightly basis and sharing our lives with you, and you sharing your chat with us. And this is our song.
We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, we can't stop.
So let's begin in this coming election year. Vote for David Sponheim, America's Party.
Sponheim for president. Can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop, can't stop.
First we hit them low, then we hit them high. Underrated, but we made it to the finish line. Rhymes designed to combine and intertwine. Spring to the summer, fall, even winter time. Beats banging harder, then head on collisions. We make incisions with precision, make quick decisions, causing double visions. If you ain't up to speed, you need to speed it up. Harder, piano read.
Can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop and we won't stop.
In this coming election year, vote for David Sponheim, America's Party.
Can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop, can't stop.
Okay, 4th of July, yay! Thank you very much. That was the recut. That was a recut version of Scissor Fight's "Can't Stop." Thank you, Scissor Fight, for doing that extra work. That's recut with reverb and tremendous sound, and I mean, you wouldn't believe the audio quality that Scissor Fight puts into this stuff. And he made that on a program called Magix, which is a phenomenal program. I made Mr. Right on Magix. And I'm not promoting it, but I did get it on this website called magix.com. So I guess I am promoting it. But I got it for free, and they have a free program out there that you can use and make all kinds of music. You guys will impress yourself with your genius. Play Mr. Right again? Okay. Will do. Mr. Right for recurring 4th of July special.
You're Mr. Right, my Mr. Right, too good to be true. You spin my world around, 'cause you're the peace I finally found. You sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, 'cause you make me melt away. You're Mr. Right, my Mr. Right, too good. You spin my world around, 'cause you're the peace I finally found. You sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, 'cause you make me melt away. You're Mr. Right, my Mr. Right, too too good to be true.
Pretty cool.
So
You're
this is
definitely my Mr. Right, Dave.
Thank you, Sarah. You're my Miss Right. This is from the book The Autumn.
Autumn Time is called.
The
It's
Autumn
a short
Time.
story. It was
Her favorite book. She just read
it was
from.
copyright by Anthony Lentini.
Anthony Lentini.
It appeared in Galaxy magazine in 1971.
Wow, that's amazing. I used to read Galaxy magazine.
Before I was
Sci-fi.
born.
That was a sci-fi magazine.
And it's definitely my favorite short story.
Autumn Times, favorite short story of all time. That's great. Thank you. All right, so what are your thoughts on Donald Trump wasting his time, tweeting all the time? It's pretty much a foregone conclusion. Nobody's happy with this guy. If you really like this guy, you think he's really accomplishing something, then you may want to goose step your way into Nazi Germany, because that's basically what you're all about. You're supporting the New World Order, the very same people that took over when Hitler was around. Hitler was financed by the very same bankers that are sitting around like a coven around Donald Trump. It's kind of weird. The families continue to regenerate. The connections to the Rothschilds continue to go on. J.P. Morgan, the secret cabal of all these people continues to dog our nation. So this third party is not just about building a consensus among the left and the right. This is also about challenging the deepest rooted corruption we have in our nation. That's perhaps the reason why this is such a powerful show and a powerful message. And this is 4th of July. We're proud to be Americans, but we're not happy with our government. Frankly, the American people feel like we're left out. And that's why this is a voter revolt. And we actually have, America's Third Party has a website dedicated to the voter revolt. And you can check it out at your leisure. We are providing a live feed. We have a store, an old site button which takes you to all our website information about ballot access. You can donate here. There's a platform synopsizing our platform. There's a store to buy stuff. I'm going to be adding a couple things this weekend, hopefully. I got to get on it because I've got a couple signs I have to update from 2016. I haven't done that. And just general information about participating and talking about a third party in your area. Just so you know, this is a live show and we are broadcasting live right now on that site. You can see it now. If I can prove it to you, let me put my hand out there.
Sorry, I think they already did prove it.
Okay, that Mad Dog, you're losing some weight, man. Peeling it off. Right on, you're jogging now. That's great.
Okay.
All right, we'll take this off the screen for a second, and we're good to go. We're back at live streaming. Macy's. Now, this is really, truly going on live.
Yeah, I think so.
4,619 people are watching. This has been going on for like 2 hours of nonstop fireworks at Macy's. I mean, I've never seen anything like this.
I can't believe they have that show.
I don't know. Is it recorded? I don't know. Money rules, all others are owned. Wow. See, that's a fatalistic viewpoint, guess 172. It's amazing how many people believe that money is so all-powerful. We've already proven that money doesn't even enter in this spread of the message of a third party. Word of mouth has really defied the monetary system. People talk about us. They don't make money talking about us.
Good job, Mad Dog. Keep it up.
Yeah,
and
keep it up. Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you, Sarah.
Spreading David's word of mouth, I guess. Yeah.
David's word of mouth thing is a campaign that's been building for the past 8 years. And it's really quite amazing how many people talk about third parties and how important it is to have a third party. I mean, in other countries, people are talking about it day in, day out. England has a third party. They don't seem to know what to do with it, though. Okay, check this out, folks. Watch the censorship that's been happening in our room. That people are unaware of how hard it is to get in here. David, it took me 25 hours to get in, been trying since 10 p.m. yesterday. I don't disbelieve you, 364. This summer, we're working on another option for chat that you guys can get into our chat room. We're going to try to splinter off into a second chat room for guests who haven't had problems getting in. We do have a Periscope show, which if you have a Twitter account, you can get in there and talk as well. So sometimes that's actually better. And if you keep cutting and pasting, you'll see that I will see your statements. Periscope isn't always 100% because it disappears after a couple seconds. So if you have a statement to make, just keep cutting and pasting. Yeah, so we've been doing this for a long time, and 9 years is not something I'm ashamed of. I'm glad that I've given it this much time because this is a honest effort to fix the country. I don't draw a penny from any of this. And real democracy has to thrive amidst corruption this way. You need people like me who are willing to give you free content and talk on a daily basis and interact, and at the very least we share links, even if you don't agree with me on anything. So, if you think that this is a bad thing, yes, to you it is, because that if you're not in the right mindset, you won't appreciate looking at things in a different way. Yeah, it's kind of amazing how much effort has gone into this on a daily basis, and it's just because Vaughn will not let me play blackface that I can't play my videos here. So, wow, that's amazing. 1.5 years, that's awesome, man. Well, people don't realize that this shows people like David Nation was in here when he was 18 years old. He's already a full-fledged, CPS person. He's working, got his degree in a university and went on to get a job at CPS. And I told David Nation I'm going to make him my point man when we begin to phase out CPS and bring on modern-day orphanages into this country. New York is going to be central to that, and he's going to be in that kind of the driver's seat. I'm going to give him a job, and he's going to be central to that. I need somebody on the inside I can trust who can, get behind this movement to reform operations that are not working. Our government's got bureaucracy that's just simply out of date and out of touch. It's kind of bizarre how this has continued for so long without any checks and balances. But there is no checks and balances. The New Deal continues to do whatever the rich people want it to do. And without anybody stipulating where the money's spent and how we should spend it, this country is continuing to waste money left and right. We're $1 trillion in debt every single year. Yeah, just say no to the New World Order. And yeah, jobs are overrated. I'm not afraid to admit that you guys, would be feeling enslaved if you're working all the time. That's why we have this plan, so you can kind of kick back a little bit and enjoy the comfort of being an American U.S. citizen. $400 a month per U.S. adult is our plan. I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm blasting past you. I'm already way beyond your wildest dreams. I took a Hail Mary pass and it landed in the end zone. Now it's just a driver's seat to the White House. The problem I've had is I've been censored in the mainstream media and continue to be censored in the mainstream media. This isn't a local campaign. It's always been a national campaign from the minute I started it in 2008. But when I ran a local campaign, I found out how completely corrupt the two-party system is, beyond belief. And Trump is creating more debt. I agree. Guest 818. The fact is, $400 a month is my idea. I came up with the basic income, the first to come up with this idea in America. And I'm the person that put the number on it. One day we pieced together what we thought the government could afford and what the people would benefit from. And frankly, this wouldn't cover you more than a tent and enough meals to buy at the shopping center, to cook outside in a barbecue. This $400 would barely get you by, but I could show you could live in a tent on $400 a month. Now I know there are people who are currently unable to actually live on anything. Their veterans are being left out. They would love this. Even $400 a month for veterans who are not 65 or 62, who can't collect Social Security. There are people who've fallen through the cracks that don't have any money at all. This is enough to keep them alive. So that's a huge, big part of the recovery that we need to put together. We also have to put together something with absolute solutions for tent cities. There's 25,000 people in various areas around the country at any given location. And they're all completely, without services. So we need mobile service units to get out to those people. So we're going to try to put that together within a few 6-month period. We're going to build a hull of the mobile service units. We're going to get these things rolling out of factories, and like Patrick Metal can be activated in South Bend, Indiana. A big company could actually start building these things. They could bid on it. We get bids from other manufacturers of trailers, like Kenworth Trucking, for instance, could be involved in this. And if you look at the idea itself, I'll give you a picture that embodies what I'm shooting for here. A simple layout like this truck right here. Mobile service units can be built that can be immediate response units. Now this is an MMU, but it'll be just like this. The MSU, the mobile service unit, will also have washers and dryers with recycled water and electric power running on biofuel or electric panels, solar panels. We'll have a backup system. So this is our MMU. We're going to make the MSUs first. Build the MSUs, at least quite a few of them, to deal with people in areas that need showers and mobile bathrooms. Mobile showers are important too because we can recycle water and heat it without having to go through a large supply of water, especially in areas that are hit with a drought. Yeah, good luck with that, man. I don't know anything about the Statue of Liberty other than it was given to us. I don't have a lot of knowledge of the structural integrity of that. Why? Are you talking about the symbolism involved? The lady with the scales? Sure. So these MSUs could be deployed in every city in the country that have major homeless problems. So I think we need to move in this direction because, frankly, it's getting worse. Let's not just dance around the subject. It's getting worse, and we have to get something out there for people. We also have to have a pathway to getting better. And what I have proposed is our amazing solution of installing solar rooftops across the country and fixing up houses that are in need of repair and getting money into the hands of people who have no training to paint walls and learn some trades. We will pay people $25 an hour for carpenters and plumbers, which is not a bad wage, but $10 an hour to anybody who just wants to pick up a paintbrush and start working. I really, honestly can't decide what you want to do with your money if you get $400 a month. The government won't be involved in checking up on you. There won't be a 6-month checkup like the EBT program has right now. You'll be hooked up to $400 for life. As long as you take money out, it will stay active. You have to take money, just like the EBT program, you have to spend $1 or at least something within the 3-month period. Otherwise, the money disappears in your account. So every month you'll be able to draw up to $400 a month, or put in a bank account, or just draw $1 and it'll accumulate. If you keep drawing a little bit every month, it'll accumulate. Eventually you'll be looking at, whoa, I got like $12,000, dude. I should buy a surfboard and a small car. That would be really cool. Yeah, you could actually improve your life then. You'll learn how to save. It helps trigger the surface economy. It revitalizes retail. People start to appreciate what things are worth because money is flying. Without invigorating our economy with little money, seed money, our economy is going to be dead on arrival, DOA. The Democrats, Republicans have failed. All they've got is just no-brainer ideas, no creativity, nothing. I have a plan to turn malls into living environments for profit centers. Every single mall can open up kiosks, and a family can rent the kiosk to sell their goods. Seriously. A portion of these, the completely closed malls can be opened up into a free opportunity at first, just to start selling your stuff, and then we could charge $5 a spot or $10, whatever the market will bear. But initially, we get the ball rolling with people selling things. And one of the ideas would be when you walk into the mall, you get a ticket. And if you get all the numbers in this whole batch of tickets, you automatically get a free prize when you leave. So you can go from location to location picking up a ticket. That's all you got to do. And then when you get all the tickets in order, you drop them in, you get a free prize out the door. Seriously. All kinds of ways of incentivizing opportunity for Americans. Yeah, we're working on them. A lot of the negative stuff about the censorship, people just don't understand that we have been seriously censored for a long time. They're completely out to lunch. They're living in utter denial. And they have no idea that this has been an ongoing censorship attempt by powerful elitists that pay Mark a lot of money to keep people out of this chat room. Okay, we're down to a trickle here. I think they're finally running out of fireworks. So we've got a few other fireworks in the works we could bring in. Here's one in particular. There we go. That's a biggie. Look at that there blow up. Oh my gosh. That basically gets you where you want to go anyway, right? Yeah. You like to see things blow up too. Willie Pickles, forget the $400 a month. I want my 40 acres and my mule I was promised, Steve. Well, you know, you have a good point. That's what the Homestead Renewal Plan is about. We're not just talking about houses. We're talking about fixing up farms that are foreclosed on. How'd you like to own a whole farm for $50,000? $500 a month payments for the next, yeah, I mean, practically the $400 a month could pop into the five. You could pay for $100 a month out of pocket for a house and farm when we fix it up. You'd lose your $400, it would pop right into the cost of your house, but hey, you could make that agreement. You'll be able to divert your $400 back to the country in other ways too. For instance, you can take a $60 draw on your $400 for health care by clicking a button on the screen. And every month you could put $60 into our plan, our public option. That's just one way we're going to finance public health care. And the public option would involve getting mobile medical units in your area to help you, as well as local public and nonprofit hospitals. You get full medical care for $60 a month, including dental. So if you have 2 fillings, I recently had two cavities, serious cavities had to be filled. I actually had 3, and he gave me a discount. But a discount is $200 a tooth. And I just filled 2 teeth cavities for $406 out the door. That included tax. It's expensive. And I'd rather get the cost of a cavity down to about $50 and an extraction down to $50. And if you have any special cosmetic work to do in front, we'll offer you the, maybe we'll have a press-on veneer thing like I have here. Or underneath, I've got a full set of teeth, but they're kind of yellow. But any kind of work on the front would be covered, included in that $50. Even though we've got to incur a greater expense for composite, because it has to look like real teeth to make it look right. But in the back, we're going to only offer silver amalgam. And if you want to pay extra, it'd be $20 extra per tooth for the composite, because that's more expensive. The composite only lasts 7 years. The silver amalgam, which some people are concerned about, lasts 26 years. So it's your choice. You want to keep going back to the dentist, that's your choice. But these are the kind of numbers I'm talking about. An x-ray, a typical x-ray in this unit would cost no more than $100 or possibly work within the framework of the cost of the equipment itself. We're going to have everybody trained to do portable x-rays, so all the EMTs can do it for maybe less than $100. It might be like $50 for an x-ray. But the bottom line is it's going to be kind of an a la carte entree menu of healthcare, where you know what the prices are up front, and it's all very fair. You wouldn't get a chance, man. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Hey, let's play some music. I've got other music in the Get Down on It.
This is America's Third Party, and I'm David Sponheim, and we're going to chat about the truth. So join us nightly from 5 to 10 p.m. and encounter interactive virtual chat like you've never heard before.
That was fun, yeah. I like to mix it up with some music, otherwise it's boring as hell, right? Got to do something. Okay, happy 4th to everybody. Welcome. We're here! Yay! 4th of July, we made it. We're all having kind of a big, huge bash in our area. I don't know, we're going to be seeing probably $20,000, $30,000 worth of fireworks in our immediate area. We've got about probably 30,000 people in my area that are going to be looking up in the skies above our Oak Harbor, Washington area where we live, and they see a spectacular show every night, every 4th of July. It's a Navy town, so everybody's very patriotic. Cool. 75 votes, thanks. Give all dentists a free x-ray machine. Absolutely. Then don't charge for x-ray. Absolutely. X-rays right now are about $25. Its energy's low tonight, Leonard? Oh my gosh. Wow, that's too bad. You're suffering a lot of energy problems. We talked a little bit about Michelle Obama. You didn't want to talk about that? Okay. Yeah, the star, they're on all the time. I'm telling you, we're on the West Coast, so our fireworks don't start till after 10. You got me another 40 minutes before I kick you into a nonstop playlist of fantastic film dating back this past week. Or you guys can send me links right now and I can add them to the library in the next 40 minutes if you got any links. Lagging is bad. You can check me out at my website, www.americasthirdparty.com. And if you go there, this website right here, you'll actually get a better signal. It's running a flash system, whereas Mark is running HTML5 and a flash chat. So the video is 10 seconds behind the actual chat signal, which is running on flash. Reports of 5-hour VIP screen. Yeah, I heard somebody waited 25 hours to get in here. Seriously, yeah. Thank you for telling me. You too are suffering, I know. Look, I'm very, very sorry that this has been going on, but it's not my fault. It's Mark's. And I've asked him to stop the VPN bans, but he said he has hundreds of millions of VPN bans. Yet at the same time, he says he's not censoring me. So I don't understand what's going on. Doesn't really matter to me at this point. I am trying to open up a secondary chat room. We're working on it. We've got a couple of ideas we're going to be kicking around the next couple of days. I got a couple of really good opportunities for a secondary chat room that might work, that give us control. Because what the problem was in the past is we didn't have enough control over the chat. David, it took me 3 days to get into your room last week. I believe you. I believe you. 5503, folks, putting him on the screen. David, it took me 3 days to get into your room last night. We appreciate it, but we're not here to talk about other people in other chat rooms. Thank you. We have a rule: we don't play other people's chat rooms here. So it's like, why? Why bother? I've got a lot of people in America, really kind of around the world, actually, more people around the world that are more interested in seeing America change than Americans. Many people are just falling for the recent line that somehow CNN made up the whole Russian story and they got rid of the guy. They laid him off, that had a fake story. That's totally untrue. That's the opposite of what happened. The guys that made a legitimate story about Russia trying to get Trump to remove sanctions, those guys actually resigned. And the story ran this completely opposite this past week. The media is trying to lie. They're twisting the story, claiming those 3 men were fired or laid off from CNN. Not the case. They resigned because their integrity was challenged by a corporate structure leading all the way to the Ashkenazi who runs, he's the CEO of CNN, Jeff Zucker, and his relationship with Donald Trump. Clearly an inside job to suppress evidence. No, there's no pictures of anything. Never was. Bro, how would you handle racism in the workplace? Well, most people in that area, that field, actually handle it very well. Human relations workers know the laws. You can't be violated. If you're singled out for being a particular color, you're kept from a job because of that. And your company is meeting all the guidelines of L&I law, labor and industry. Then you have to abide by those. But if you're running a company that is hiring people in the field, we can't police that. We can't always say, oh yeah, you're only hiring white people. So it's a matter of how much of the government should be running into our face on that issue. I can't guarantee every single business in America is going to be being fair. Like a mom and pop restaurant, they need a waitress. Signs up, need a waitress. Latvian girls here too. Really? No, that's not the case. She's been gone a long time. You need a waitress. So you get a woman, or you think is a woman, walk in and it's a man. It's a dude in dress up. And your wife and you are a mom and pop situation. Say, honey, I don't think it's appropriate to have a transgender as our waitress. People will know. I can't tell them not, to force them to hire a tranny. So businesses can make decisions separate on their own volition regarding gender issues. But racial issues are still under the Civil Rights Act protected. Hey, Pat Rick is here. Just getting here. Happy 4th to you, Pat Rick. Pat Rick is are you a couple? Are you two people in one, or are you just a split personality? And now you're saying Candy Rain's here on the 4th of July? No, you're just making this stuff up. Oh, all one word, really? Oh, it is Patrick. Oh, I didn't realize your name was Patrick. I thought it was you were like a couple. Pat and Rick. I didn't know. Thank you. You're moving on? Why, Jeff? It's becoming Mongoloid Central? Are you serious? I'm keeping track of chat, man. Jeff, you're slumming with all the average people here. Wow. Thanks for hanging out with us for a while, but did your upper echelon tell you can't really be here, Jeff, or you lose your job? They can do that. A lot of people have tried to cover our story and they've lost their job over it. Because they don't have any individual free press in America. It's all controlled, Jeff. Yeah. Yeah, people are watching me all over the place, 3303. I'm not sure why, but I've become a national phenomenon. I think because I speak the truth. Mad Dog says, hi, he's losing weight. You're awesome, dude. Wow, you're really... Man, you're looking good. Fantastic. Wow. What an amazing turnaround. He just had some... He had an amazing life-changing event. Let's put it that way. Moonwalker, Canadians love me, dude. I'm purging your statement. They love me. I've been a good supporter of good relations with Canada. Unlike Trump, who seems to disregard everybody. Yeah, we have millions, not necessarily in our chat room, just watching me on the screen. Oh, Daily Mail Online. Yeah, I don't think I need that. Get the app. This is a horrible story that came in our pre-show. I want to show it to you. It's of a man being victimized in Germany, a black man, hauled out of a bus because he's black. There's no other reason. You'll hear him in the background saying, what the hell? Why are you doing this to me, man? You'll hear it. Check it out.
This is absolutely not okay, this what you're doing. The guy didn't do anything to you guys. Ah! You should be ashamed of yourself. This is racist what you're doing. Why are you doing this? She thinks...
Nein, ich darf filmen, wann ich möchte. Natürlich darf ich filmen, wann ich möchte.
Ich arbeite selber in Deutschland.
Ja, Sie können überhaupt nicht.
Ich bin Journalistin, ich weiß, was meine Rechte sind. Was ich filmen darf.
Was Sie hier tun.
You should be ashamed of yourself. This is racism. I'm doing this to him because he's black.
Ich arbeite auch bei der Deutschen Bank.
Und?
Schau, das
Rede ich mit dir überhaupt?
What did I do, man? He's saying in the background. What did I do, man? What did I do, man?
Tell me what I did.
Tell me what I did. Look at this, man. This poor man. It's horrible. I am a beacon of righteousness, and you're a scumbag for coming in here. I'm going to ban you. Later. I'll mute you for 15 minutes, then you can reassess. Yeah. Outrageous mistreatment of human beings. I'm appalled, and it sickens me to think that this country in Germany is having this problem with sensitivity training for their officers. We have a little problem. We have to disable guest chat. So this is why we need another website so we can control guest chat better. Because the tools here are not as effective as I'd like. Scumbags, yeah. Go ahead and make my day. You had no idea? Okay. It happens. We don't even know what he did. He was even saying, what did I do, man? You kept hearing him in the background. What did I do, man? You know, this guy could break his neck. That position, you can break your neck. You're looking at a human being. He's not an animal. I'm not calm because I'm angry. Violence leaves about 60 shot, 8 of them dead for the 4th of July weekend. Patrick. Checking. Hold, please. Well, whatever you want to do. Discredit the entire event. You don't even have to worry about it because it's not you, right? Violence. Yeah, this is just, we're just in. Violence leaves about 60 shot, 8 of them dead for 4th of July so far, everybody. You know that there's 13 gunshots a day, normally, every day in Chicago. Today there were 60, and right now 8 of them are dead. Chicago. Chi-town, man. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. Check it out, man. There's all kinds of violence going on, man. It's tough in this city, man, and Donald Trump's not doing anything to deal with Chicago. It's terrible. I know, Patrick. Thanks for bringing the link in there, Patrick. Look at this, man. You don't know if you're going to be alive or dead in Chicago if you're driving around neighborhoods. This woman's going, what is going on? People are very, very scared, and you know they got to live. So when people leave Chicago, they go to guess where? Wisconsin, Minnesota, and they have to find safe haven there. And guess what? Violence is increasing in Rochester, Minnesota. There are rival gangs now. There's the Chicago people. There's actually 3 types of black people living in Rochester. And I'm saying types because there's from various backgrounds and they live in separate areas, but there's Nigerians who are living in one area, Somalians in another, and people from Chicago living in another, just because they needed to get out of Chicago. And it's just, it sucks because there's not a lot of integration going on, even among black people, which is kind of strange. Sounds like Mosul across the street in Iraq, where you live, in your mind. All right. So, yeah, Chi-town. It's not pretty. There's a decedent right here. One of the 8 dead today in a gangland shooting. And the police are doing the best they can, but it's not easy. It's one of the toughest areas in the country. We have to have a different approach. We have to discuss it with the police officers and find out their take on this and try to work with a way in which the people don't get profiled and brutalized, because that's leading to problems too. A greater presence in local neighborhoods with cops on the beat might be the way to go, but also less harassment, less emphasis on drug takedowns. You know, I personally believe that when we legalize marijuana, I believe some of the gangs in Chicago who are having a turf war right now will say, well, we're just going to open up a store. And then it'll come down to who's got the better product when it comes to marijuana. There will you'll not be able to sell cocaine at these locations. And a lot of the locations will require videotape sent into a central location so we can watch your actions. But legalized marijuana sales in shops will decline or show a marked decrease in violence, in my opinion. Now, I cannot validate that with stats right now. I wish I could. There have been some declines in crime in and around areas of Colorado. It's ironic that kids are less interested in marijuana as an illegal drug when their parents are getting it legal. That's an interesting side effect. So less kids are getting into illegal use of drugs, which is interesting. Chicago, man, definitely a tough area to live. Yeah, you know, if I was caught there in the middle of the street in Chicago, you know how long I'd live? I don't know. I'd have to change my look pretty damn fast. I'd probably wear some sort of a bandana or something to look more, because obviously I'm like a mark in a city like this. I used to drive across town in New York just to, deliver people to and from Kennedy Airport and when I was visiting. And it's pretty seriously messed up when you break down on the road and have to get off the turnpike. It's a whole other world when you land in the center of some area with a broken, down car. It's like, welcome to New York. You know what I'm talking about? Anything, just being white and tall. I was in a bank robbery in LA in which I was a victim of a bank robbery. I didn't commit the bank robbery. And the woman I was with at the time peed in her pants. No, I would be a mark in an area anywhere that you find any type of... Oh, really? Well, I don't hang with homosexuals, so I don't know what your slang is. So, bye, JoJo. Go back to the circle jerk party you were having over at the Down Low Club. See you later. But yeah, there's a lot of bad things happening in the city right now in America. But hopefully they won't turn into riots. That's my biggest concern. I hope I controlled the chat. Jeff's a little bit more happy with that. David, you're like an albino with anemia. Why do you think I don't go to Mexico? I stand out like a sore thumb. Oh, look at the gringo. Oh, look at him. And they call me names too. Oh yeah, it's happened all the time. I used to be around a lot of. I worked in a print shop and I was managing a crew of people with a T-shirt operation just shortly, and I'd have to communicate in Spanish the best I could, and it was kind of hard to maintain that control when they're calling you names, So one of the ideas I came up with is the Media Verification Alliance, which I think could really help the country. I have a tan. I had to lighten the camera earlier because I looked like I had jaundice. But the Media Verification Alliance is my idea, and if we give people the opportunity to participate, they'd mostly likely be people who are like on the internet journalists, buffs. The government would pay your gas mileage and your motel fees as long as you put all of your assets into public trust, except for petty cash. So if you were operating, a side business where you were doing something on the side with cash, chances are we wouldn't know about it until we videotaped you and actually saw you. So you could be videotaped at any one of these locations, taking money. So you'd have to be willing to have surveillance done on you. Yeah, I don't mean your bathroom or your house. I'm just being in action. So you'd have to agree to that. But the idea is we don't want people that can be bribed. And if they can verify an event, like look at the autopsy results, walk into a coroner's office and look at the body, that's your job. If you're not squeamish and you can look at a body and talk to a coroner and write a few notes, maybe take a handheld camera and put it on a website, you'd be part of the Media Verification Alliance. That would be the goal, to get solid info from people who are non-biased. Because right now the media is clearly making a big salary. They can't actually go and do their job. The free press that you think exists, Jeff, doesn't really exist. You can get penalized for doing too much of your job in journalism, and you actually lose your job. It's happened to a lot of people by doing your job. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you're in a different world. But if you're behind the curtain of that oversight, you have to meet and abide by the censors, the CIA, everybody who's listening in on your actions. You can't be a person who's unbiased. We want objective people who are unbiased to do the Media Verification Alliance. Now, Donald Trump should have put his assets in a public trust. He should never have had a private operation running out of the White House. But people who are part of the alliance will have to have their assets in a public trust so people will see it. All right, so thank you for listening to my idea. If it ever comes to fruition, whatever. At least I talked about it. It's better than nothing. Okay, let's get back to the events over in Macy's. High CPU usage. Okay, I got to get out of this. Hang on. A boy here is supposedly an armed 11-year-old boy saves his uncle from charging bear. Quick action from Hanoi boy saving a fishing party from a charging brown bear on June 18th. Alaska State troopers and family members said that he saved his uncle's life. This young man. Good job, dude. And then we go to the actual screen. Live streaming still. Let me increase the contrast on this. There you go. You know, the only government agencies that have been privatized are big. Anything too big and cumbersome for the government to operate, I can see privatizing them and divesting them. My model for hybrid capitalism actually breaks down any new startup operations where the government gets too big. This prevents socialism. So say the government takes over a generic pharmaceutical business and all of a sudden has dominant market value and controls the pharmacy industry. I'd back away from it. I'd let the generic companies that we're partnering with take more ownership. We're still live. Yeah, it's still live streaming. I just can't believe Macy's has this kind of money. It's like 3 hours of nonstop fireworks. It's phenomenal. I know. And the atmosphere is now a cloud of sulfur. Just unbelievable pollution in the skies above New York City. Yeah. So if you're there, you're gonna have to wear a mask or something. You know, protect your lungs. If you're in Times Square watching the show here, you might want to wear a filter mask or something because it's going to get pretty bad. I was never in Bosnia. No, many of you must be looking at another David John Sponheim. He spells his name John, and he's dead. Yeah, Macy's paid for this, Matrick. Can you believe this? It's unbelievable. That's why I thought maybe, you know, there's some people, some heavy-duty people behind this thing, you know what I'm talking about? They made a major endorsement, you know. Hey, screw you too, buddy. And the road you came in on. I broadcast for 5 hours a night, 6 days a week. And we're on till 2 in the morning. You ain't gonna get near my face, man. I'll take you down, man. Yeah, Splatter Central, man. David, just watch this greatest video of all times. Wow, Willie Pickles. I'm not allowed to play that, but thank you for saying that. I can't play any of the blackface videos here. We're 6, yeah, do the math, man. 6 times 5 hours a day. Y'all, that's 30 hours on the screen every day, every week. I never was in Kosovo. Like I said, look up the other guy. His name is David John, John Sponheim. I believe you may have him. He was a sergeant. Yeah, I think you may have him as your Kosovo contact. Not me, dude. Different guy entirely. I don't have any fetishes at all, Jojo. Well, when I play blackface, I turn into the Wicked Witch of the East and I melt. No, actually what happens is Mark gets upset. I don't know that guy either. That's what I'm saying. I think you got the opposite guy. You have the wrong David John Sponheim. I spell my middle name Jon. I was never in Bosnia. Ever. I'll take a lie detector test on that. So whatever you're saying, you're spinning the wrong story. It doesn't happen. All right, we're having some fun, isn't this? And then, you know, in a little while, I'll be setting up videos for you. So if you have any videos you want to put out on the screen tonight in our after show, feel free. Otherwise, I'm picking from a whole lot that I have. Well, Leonard, I don't want to ruin Mark's chance of censoring me by letting him toss me. Terms of service could be used against me, and I don't want to give him a chance. If I'm going to sue the living daylights out of this guy, it's not going to be because I violated his terms of service. It's always good to abide by the TOS of any stream you're on. You know, unbeknownst to me, Twitch had a law on their terms of service saying you're not allowed to say anything homophobic. You can check terms of service on Twitch. And we started broadcasting on the IRL network as soon as it opened up, and immediately got a great response, but immediately got hosed by a bunch of people claiming that I was homophobic. And what happened was they called me, you know, they said, "You're gay," and I said, "No, I'm not." And they said, well, then obviously you're a homophobe. I said, no, I'm just not gay. And then I got angry at them. I said, you know, you have no right to sexually harass people in the room. And then they reported me as being a homophobe. That's how ridiculous the story was. No, I don't plan on traveling outside the United States. I don't need a passport. Well, what do you think I'm working on right now, Leonard? I'm working on a comprehensive analysis of the whole thing. So far, I noticed that Mark is violating the RICO Act, so I have to put that together and present it to an attorney. Nope, your sources are incorrect. That's a lie. Like I said, there was another David John Sponheim out there, and it's not me. His name was spelled John. I had no idea the guy existed. I did a word search on my name in the 90s just to see how many people were out there, and there was a David Sponheim in Minnesota and another one in another part of the country. And then it wasn't this guy. Then I did a word search on my full name again, and it finally, in 2010, this guy who died in 2002 popped up. So we think that's the guy. You guys think I'm obviously not that guy. You can contact the company if you get a refund through Amazon. It's 99 cents. Dave, I widely respected. I don't know if I am. I'm really not concerned. I haven't done anything to be disrespected. You know, I can't put together a GoFundMe page for legal fees. When I'm running for a political campaign, I can't cross-contaminate it with a GoFundMe page for legal fees. No, I don't. I go out all the time. Yeah, I leave my my retreat here in Antarctica to travel to a nearby city. It's a lovely place, it really is. You'd like it. It's cold, it's icy, but once you get, you know, at least 100 feet below the ground, it's so much nicer. You can warm it. This is a lovely part in Antarctica where we're currently staying. It's very pretty here. Beautiful. When we put the periscope up, we can see outside of our palatial home underground. Broadcasting from beneath the ground in Antarctica, America's third party. It'd be pretty funny, wouldn't it? Hi, good morning. We don't smoke weed I don't smoke weed on the camera. I don't smoke weed. I vape it. No, I never destroyed anything because I never went to Kosovo or Bosnia. I was never in Kosovo, no, ever. No, I can't smoke weed on camera. It's a TOS violation. If I were sitting in the back going, "Oh, dude, this is really cool. Oh, so, like, what do you want to talk about?" And then my glasses would go on and my eyes would be red. It's crazy, I know. People down here don't really like it here, so they have to go back down. But I'll take care of that in a second. Hang on. You dirty rat! You can't act like that in this hair. You dirty rat. I don't have any urination jars. Most of the urine is circulated back up to the upper level, and it's filtered. All the water from the glacial ice caps are filtered back into our fresh water supply. I've been broadcasting for 9 years now, Moonwalker. Yeah. I'm just a babe in the woods. I'm the biggest broadcaster in the world. But aside from that, I'm just kind of in, the infancy of my broadcasting days. I anticipate at least 50 years of broadcasting ahead of me. Non-stop. By the time I get to about 100, I'll begin to slow down, but I anticipate running for office for another at least 100 years. Well, 93 years, because the limitation on my core module is 93 years, 150 maximum lifespan. My hydrogen-driven battery pack will last that long without recovery. But the nice thing is, you think I'm human, which is important. Because a lot of you are very unhappy with artificial intelligence and have grown to distrust many things. So I've made myself more palatable for you to understand that I am clearly human. You can tell by my fluid motions. So we're getting close to the big, huge event coming up, 10 o'clock. Haven't had a lot of links tonight. I had a feeling I'm going to have to construct my own link library. Whoa, 1 hour and 33 minutes. I'm adding this to the, for sure. Well, I actually have a long movie that's in the hopper ready to go here. It's called Silenced. Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to take you away. I've been obsessed with this song. It keeps playing over my head all the time. Sound of Silence sucks. When you got Art Garfunkel in your head all the time, it's like, what? Yeah, stop hitting on me, lick lick. I missed you, ticking time bags. You betcha. Dancers light up the stage and earn the Golden Buzzer Americans Got Talent 2017. Wow. That sounds exciting.
This should be interesting.
Wow, that's amazing. I'll add that for sure. Is it amazing? I'm like blown away, man. Thank you for that link, Jeff. Yes. I do believe it will be a good show. I can play Bruce Lee to start with.
This should be interesting.
Yes. I'm just doing the work behind the scenes here so you can watch it. Thank you, yeah. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to land at you again. Okay, here we go. You too. Now imagine yourself banned from the show, Moonwalker. Imagine yourself with your head clearly stuck up your ass. Just imagine that for a second. All right. That's special. Well, isn't that super special? Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, as you can see, we've got a brand new playlist called News 7 you guys will be looking at tonight. We started it July 1st, so it's got a little bit of Seth Rich there. the funeral of Seth Rich, and all the players that were there, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, James Alefantis. I mean, what were these people there for? A new message for Donald Trump from Vicente Fox, very good video. So all these things will be coming into the show in rotation tonight. We start the show off with a ridiculous tribute to One Toke Over the Line, Sweet Jesus. Yeah, and there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 videos here on One Toke Over the Line, and then the movie's silenced. And then the movie Light Balance. So it's like 2 hours away, you'll see that movie that Jeff just gave us. Thanks. No, I'm not backing Chris Christie because I'm running for president. What are you talking about? I mean, how can you even come in here and say that? Hello, darkness, my old friend. I think Vicente Fox just set a very clear vision for what America has to do. We have to get Donald Trump to stop playing war games and get back to playing with soldiers. He thinks he should play with little toy soldiers. That'd be better. Yeah. One toke over the line, sweet Jesus. No, so we'll be playing the original One Toke Over the Line to start off things, and you can decide which one is the best. I will win. It's bound to win. I'm on a trajectory, a pathway of success. Yeah, Chris Christie's totally, bought off. He's completely controlled by the mob. I mean, everybody knows that. Well, you don't buy into the Seth Rich story because you don't know anything about it. They won't investigate it, so you don't know anything about it. Well, you'd think the FBI would be involved in this, but they're not. Let me tell you a little story about a woman named Nancy Schaefer. She was a state senator in Georgia for a couple terms, and she got a lot of people who lost their kids come up to her and say, Nancy, you got to help me. I lost my child. The police aren't doing anything. And Nancy started looking into it, and she found a connection between the Child Protective Services in Georgia and missing children. And she found so much evidence. She found pedophiles that were actually getting kids sent to them from CPS just to be abused. And kids were missing from the system. Over 1,000 kids a year die from brutally being tortured in the CPS system. I'm not kidding. You'd think CPS would be protecting children. They're not. Anyway, long story short, in 2010 she was killed. But they called it a murder-suicide. Somehow her husband shot her in the back and shot himself in the stomach and died 8 hours later. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. Yeah, I realize Debbie Wasserman Schultz's brother is the DA in Washington, D.C. That's why I'm saying what the deal is. We need to find out. We need to find out what the hell's going on. If the DA doesn't want to investigate and the FBI doesn't want to investigate, then a third party is certainly, a political choice is the only way we're going to get honesty back into politics. If this guy doesn't investigate his sister in the missing actions of Seth Rich, what's interesting about Debbie is she went out of her way to go to the court hearing to turn around to the police department and say that there would be consequences if they don't release Seth Rich's computer to her. I will play that. Play Water, my friend. I'll play it right now. Just 2 more minutes. Chris Christie has said, I don't apologize for it, for taking 1.3 miles of beach in New Jersey and making it a place to shut it down for his family to sit there. Yeah. He's the kind of fat cat that is symbolic of the corruption we've seen in this country for so long. It's disgusting how we have to deal with this. It's making me sick to think that dishonesty is dominating our politics. Yeah, High Counselor, it upsets me to think that these people have gotten away with it. Look, I wouldn't even be running for any office if I wasn't an honest man with really nothing to lose other than my life. And if you don't understand the dynamic here, then you miss the whole point of a third party. I literally put my life on the line every day to bring you this show. I've had over 1,000 death threats a year for about 8 years. It's just unbelievable what I have to put up with. So this is, and I don't even get any support from the FBI. They don't even come to my aid. They don't even return my phone calls. So you got to understand how many things are on the line here for our country to get better. I don't care if her brother is the DA of the entire world. It doesn't matter to me. What it was important to me is that we get to the bottom of why Seth Rich died. Now, if there's anything, if she had any reason to go after that computer because of evidence that she thought she could control, that is implicating her. That's an obvious state of implicating a witness. And this is a person who should at least be interviewed. I'm not saying she did anything or caused his death. I'm just saying she needs to be interviewed. And we need a lot of people interviewed. I've been related to the hospital that somehow neglected Seth Rich, and he's sitting there. I know they're not doing their job. I agree. Ticking time bag. Well, look, I can't patrol Compton. I'm sorry, I can't. I can't go to Compton and help out right now. Sorry. I'm right in the middle of a show. Okay, but I'll when do you need to be there? Next week? It's a long drive, man. No, nothing about this show is ludicrous. Trump has failed in so many ways it's beyond belief. His connection to Russia is clearly a big problem, and it's going to get worse. Paul Manafort, his former campaign chairman, had to admit he was an agent for Russia last week. I'm worried about it. I was out watering my lawn earlier. I will be a write-in candidate and possibly on the ballot in any given state in 2020. Dude, every day I have a high security profile here. Do you have any idea how many people could easily, attempt to kill me? I'm not saying they would, but do you have any idea how many people could easily try to do that? We get threats every single day. You have no idea what I do. To do what I do is beyond voodoo. It's more like more like the doo-doo that you do when you voodoo the doo-doo. But no, seriously, it's beyond your wildest imagination. I gotta go. We're gonna have a huge festivity here. I'm gonna get into some music. Enjoy the night, everybody. Here comes a little bit of Bruce Lee, and the rest of the show is pretty much on you. Enjoy the loops that we put together the past week. All right. Here is Bruce Lee with the infamous Biwata, my friend. Take care. Good night. Have a good one. We'll be back tomorrow for Wasteful Wednesday. See you then.
It is like a finger pointing.